Chapter 2209. Sima Yoyue's identity was not a secret in the human realm, especially now that the Sima family was quickly becoming a first-rate family. Almost everyone in the continent was paying attention to their situation. Yuka Luo had appeared in the human realm for such a long time, but the Sima family had never tried to cover it up, so this news naturally spread even more. However, because of Sima Yoyue's identity and the things she had done for the continent, everyone accepted this news, and very few people would talk about it, much less insult her and ask her to scram to the ghost realm. Ask me to scram? Sima Yoyue carried Little Seven and stood up, looking at the person Little Lucky was pointing at. Who do you think you are to have the right to ask me to scram? You are Sima Yoyue? The man who was laughing just now looked at Sima Yoyue with hatred in his eyes. So what if I am? You want to chase me back to the ghost realm? Do you have the ability to do so? Sima Yoyue looked at him with contempt. If you have the ability, would you be hiding in this place? She did not hide the contempt in her words, and it made him so angry that the fire in his heart rose. Sima Yoyue, who do you think you are? Am I not wrong? The man flew into a rage out of humiliation. You are from the ghost realm, so you should scram back to the ghost realm. If not for you, how would we end up like this? Do you know how many people you have harmed? People like you whose hands are stained with blood should not be living in this world. You are people under the sage pavilion. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yoyue understood now. These people were under the sage pavilion in the past. Because of what happened in the past, the sage pavilion's vitality was greatly damaged, and their position in the continent was declining day by day, so they could no longer protect these people. And these people probably did many bad things in the past. Without the Sage Pavilion's power, they naturally ended up as fugitives. Thinking about their past glory, and looking at their current cowardice, they hated her so much that their teeth itched, and they could only complain about it in this place. Who knew that their luck was so bad that Little Seven and the others heard it, and even attracted her true body? Sima Yoyue looked at the people in the tea house. There were more than 10 of them, and they were quite strong. They had the advantage in numbers. Little Seven could protect herself, but she couldn't take care of Little 11 and Little 7. However, none of the hundreds of people who were watching the show came out to help Little 7 and the others. Little 10, these people are bad. There was still fear in Little 11's eyes, making Sima Yoyue's heart ache. A bunch of cowards. They've only lived a few thousand years longer than you, so they're temporarily stronger than you. You don't have to be afraid of these ants. Sima Yoyue comforted her. Yes, they are a bunch of cowards. Little 11 encouraged himself. Do you want to die to atone for your sins, or do you want us to do it? Wu Lingyu asked. Wu Lingyu, you're the holy son of the Sage Pavilion, but you're with your enemy. You're such an ungrateful thing. Bah. Enemy? She's my wife. She's the person I've loved my entire life. The Sage Pavilion is just a place to hide evil. How can it be more important than my Yoyue? Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yoyue affectionately. How do you want them to die? Don't they like to bully others with numbers? Then let's let them experience what it means to bully others with numbers. Sima Yoyue laughed coldly. Also, these people hate my identity as a ghost. I'll let them know if they have the right to do so. Her voice contained a biting cold murderous intent, causing the surrounding temperature to drop a lot. Wu Lingyu understood what she was thinking and said, then let's do it. Sima Yoyue had never used the power of the ghost clan in the human realm. This time she was really angered by these people. She waved her hand and more than 10 ancient battle souls appeared in the tea house, surrounding the people below. Every ancient battle soul had been through a long period of tempering. The killing intent on their bodies were terrifying. Now that dozens of them had appeared all of a sudden, the battle formation immediately suppressed those people. Not only that, she even called Little Black out. Woo, you haven't come out to play after the seal was broken. Have fun today. Little Black glanced at her indifferently. He was no longer the silly dog he used to be. He had no interest in playing with these things. This woman was still treating him like the silly dog he used to be. Woo, these people bullied Little 11. Take revenge for us. Little Lucky hugged Little Black and said. Little Black did not reply. He pushed Little Lucky away. With a leap, he turned into a ball of black fog and quickly surrounded that person. It was only for a moment. When he left, that person was only left with white bones. If he did not want to intimidate these people, not even a bone would be left. And those people, if they did not stop us, Little 11 would not have been in such danger. Little Lucky pointed at the remaining people and said. This time Little Black did not move quickly. Instead, he slowly approached the person closest to him. Because of what happened before, these people were deeply afraid of the black fog. Now that he was slowly approaching them, it increased their fear. They began to attack Little Black. However, their attacks were useless. They merged into the black fog and did not even make a sound. The first person was enveloped by Little Black. Because Little Black controlled his speed and strength, everyone present heard an extremely tragic cry. That sound was incomparably sharp. It made people's scalps tingle, their hearts tremble, and their bodies turn cold. This person is a supreme rank expert. It was unknown who said this. The tea house became even quieter. Even the sound of breathing disappeared. A supreme rank expert could not even last a minute against this monster. Just by listening to the sound, one could tell how painful the process of his death was. It could be said that a supreme rank expert was like a weak chicken in front of this monster. They did not have any power to resist. If a powerful expert was like this, then what about them who were weaker than him? Little Black slowly moved away. This time, there were no bones on the ground. Seeing him move towards the others, those people who were scared silly finally came back to their senses. They all ran out of the tea house. The tea house that was already on the verge of collapse finally collapsed because of their panicked escape. Sima Yue and the rest flew into the air. Looking at their faces that changed color because of the spatial seal, they could not feel any sympathy for them. Seeing that they were unable to break through the spatial lock, some of them panicked and ran over to threaten her. Sima Yue, we didn't attack your spirit beasts just now. We have no enmity with you, but you've trapped us all here. Do you want to kill us all? Aren't you afraid of attracting trouble by doing this? In Qingliang City, killing people was not a big deal. However, casually killing people was not allowed. If she did this, there would be people from the city lord's residence who would deal with her. Chapter 22:10. Sima Yue was not threatened by him. She sneered. You didn't do anything to them? You're not wrong because you didn't do anything. You just watched coldly from the side. Even if we did nothing, you can't kill us like this. One of the women shouted. It was not a big deal to watch from the side. She could not hurt them just because of this reason. Really? Sima Yue sneered. What if I insist? Aren't you afraid of getting into trouble? Why would I be afraid? Although I don't like trouble, I've never been afraid of it. Moreover, although you didn't do anything, you were just watching the show. You hoped that my beasts would be killed and then I would be killed again, right? Who knew that their master would exceed your expectations and drag you down with him? That's why you're making a scene now. When you were watching the show, did you ever think that there would be a time when you would be watched by others? Sima Yue, even if we didn't help you, you can't blame us because of this. Who in this mainland doesn't want to protect themselves? Would you intervene when you see others being bullied? Someone reprimanded. Then you can see that my beastie is about to be killed. Are you still cheering from the side? Sima Yue's tone became sharp. I've let those who didn't cheer out. Didn't you realize? The others then realized that not everyone was locked up here. Those who were locked up here were those who had cheered or instigated. Those who were just there to watch the show stood outside and continued to watch the show. It seemed that she was determined to deal with them. You can slowly enjoy the feeling of approaching death. If there's a next life, remember not to add insult to injury. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she carried Little 11 and Wu Lingyu outside. Once they left, the ancient war spirits started to move. There were so many of them. They couldn't let Little Black deal with them alone. They had to fight together. The people who were locked inside were not weak. However, under Gu Zhanhuan's attacks, they quickly lost the ability to resist. A wave of energy flew out from the center of the city and hit the sealed space. The people inside felt their surroundings loosen and quickly escaped. Sima Yue did not do anything as she watched this scene unfold. Wu Lingyu also stood by her equipment and did not step out to stop it. A figure appeared in the air, and the surrounding people all bowed to him. Sima Yue and he stared at each other in the air. Neither of them was in a hurry to look away. Although these people are in the wrong, you have already taught them a lesson. Why don't we end this matter here? The man said. You are the city lord Zhao Ruixiang? Sima Yue asked. Yes, I wonder if Miss Sima can give this Zhao some face? Zhao Ruixiang said with a slight smile. I'm not familiar with you. Why should I give you face? Sima Yue was very straightforward. She did not intend to give him face at all. You came here to find your disciple. You didn't come here to fight. Instead of making enemies, it's better to make friends. Zhao Ruixiang said. You know why I came here? Everyone knows that you are looking for your disciple. Although I am a little behind in Qingliang City, I still know about this important matter. Zhao Ruixiang smiled. His gaze was very certain. She came here to find Mu Si. Sima Yue was wondering if he was prepared to use this matter to threaten her. He continued, why don't we make a deal? What deal? You let these people off today, and I will help you look for your disciple's whereabouts. How about that? Zhao Ruixiang's conditions were indeed attractive. He knew when she came here. He had been paying attention to her situation, so he knew that Mu Si was not here. However, since she appeared here, it meant that there was something related to him. And it was very likely that it was something that he knew. Seeing that Sima Yue was still a little unwilling, he continued. Killing these people won't be of much use to you. However, if I help you keep an eye on your disciple, if he comes here later on, my news will definitely be faster than yours. It was indeed so. As the city lord, he was naturally the fastest in the city to get news. If he could help her look for him, it would naturally be much better. All right, I agree. She waved her hand and those ancient battle souls were kept. Little Black also turned into a human and returned to her side. When the people surrounding them disappeared, they finally heaved a sigh of relief. They bowed to Zhao Ruixiang and quickly left. I wonder if Miss Sima is willing to go to the city lord's residence to take a look? Zhao Ruixiang asked. Sima Yue only hesitated for 2 breaths of time before agreeing. She followed him to the city lord's residence. After they left, there were immediately people from the city lord's residence who came to clean up the remains of the tea house. In the future, no one would be so blind as to go against Sima Yue. Sima Yue followed Zhao Ruixiang to the city lord's residence and went to the guest hall. She carried Little 11 to a chair and sat down. She asked, City Lord Zhao, what do you want to tell us? Little 11 lay in her arms. What happened this time really scared her. Even though a long time had passed, she was still lying in Sima Yue's arms. She was unwilling to leave her no matter what. When she heard Sima Yue's words, she even twisted in her arms and found a comfortable position. Sima Yue moved along with her and made her more comfortable. Zhao Ruixiang saw that Sima Yue had quietened down after speaking. It was as if she didn't even ask the question just now. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. How did you know that I have something to tell you? I guessed. Sima Yue said. If I didn't guess wrongly, this matter has something to do with my disciple, right? If he didn't have anything to do with it, why would he interfere with those people's matters? Although on the surface he was standing up for those people, but in reality, he was trying to establish a relationship with her so that they could come to the city lord's residence. It does have something to do with it. Zhao Ruixiang said. Then tell me, why are you looking for me? Sima Yue said. You know, lying is useless. Zhao Ruixiang didn't expect Sima Yue to be so sensitive. She immediately understood what he meant. A bitter smile gradually appeared on his face. We didn't want to involve you in this, but we need your help with this matter. Take a look at this. He took out a box and placed it beside Sima Yue. Then he asked, what do you think of this matter? Chapter 22:11. There were intricate and complicated carvings on the box. It looked like a flower but not a flower. It looked like a beast but not a beast. It had a very ancient aura. This is... Sima Yue looked at Zhao Ruixiang suspiciously. She couldn't help but think of Mu Si when he took out this thing at this time. The thing that those people are looking for. Zhao Ruixiang said. You should already know. What is it? Sima Yue pretended to be ignorant. Didn't the people from Ghost City come here to bring you news? Zhao Ruixiang looked at her. He was sure that she already knew. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. He even knew about Ghost City. It seemed like he knew a lot of things. You know Musi's father? She saw that his expression didn't change and continued. You know what happened that year? Zhao Ruixiang didn't deny it. Musi's father was hunted down because of this. Sima Yue didn't take the box to look at it. She tapped on the table with her right hand and said, This thing looks like a disaster. You're giving it to me. Are you trying to divert the disaster? This is Musi's. If those people find it, no one knows if he'll still be alive. Zhao Ruixiang wasn't anxious. It's with me. To protect myself, I'll naturally hand it over. I think you'll be more anxious about what will happen to Musi. You're really honest. Sima Yue said lightly. No one could guess her emotions. I'm doing this for everyone's sake. Zhao Ruixiang said. I don't have the ability to protect it, but you do. This is the best thing for you. Sima Yue remained silent. She didn't take the thing. Zhao Ruixiang felt that Sima Yue was really calm. He knew what she was waiting for. He sighed and said, Aren't you curious about what's inside? Rather than being curious, I'm more interested in knowing what's going on. Although this is related to Musi, you and I both know that this is a hot potato. It's fine if you want me to take over, but you have to tell me everything that happened back then. Don't threaten me with Musi's safety. I'll just save him when we find him. Sima Yue finally spoke. He wanted to push the blame to her without saying anything. Did he take her for a fool? Even if he was related to Musi's father, it had nothing to do with her. Zhao Ruixiang sighed and said, All right then. Actually, there's no harm in telling you this. It's just that we promised not to tell anyone about this. Now that both of them are gone, this matter won't affect them. This meant that something had happened to Musi's father. The matter was actually not that complicated. It was just that Musi's father was ordered by the sect to find this treasure. He was supposed to snatch it, but he didn't hand it over to the sect after snatching it. Instead, he killed everyone around him and ran away with it. The Dark Dragon Guard was furious and sent people to hunt him down. He ran to many places but couldn't get rid of these people. In the end, he died here. Musi was an accident during his escape. When he found out about Musi's existence, Musi was already 2 to 3 years old. He was constantly in danger, so naturally, he couldn't bring him along. Thus, he dragged him to his friend and gave him the box at the same time. In order to not attract attention, Zhao Ruixiang didn't bring Musi with him. Instead, he let him grow up and only sent people to protect him secretly. When he found out that Musi's father had died, Zhao Ruixiang found his friend and asked him to bring Musi to Ghost City. He initially thought that he would live peacefully in Ghost City. At the very least, he wouldn't be in any danger while he was in Ghost City. Who knew that he would follow Sima Yue outside, and even be discovered by the Dark Dragon Guards. As for why Xianqiu he went to the Sima family to kidnap Musi, Zhao Ruixiang didn't know. Perhaps only Xianqiu he could answer her questions. What was Musi's father holding? Sima Yue asked. The ancient sacred flame order. Sima Yue glanced at Wu Lingyu. He didn't know what it was either. In the divine region, the ancient sacred flame order has supreme power. It can command the world. All living things listen to its command and can't be disobeyed. Zhao Ruixiang explained. Is it the same as the mythical dragon order? Sima Yue asked. It has a higher status than the mythical dragon order. Zhao Ruixiang didn't expect Sima Yue to know about the mythical dragon order, even though she hadn't been there before. The mythical dragon order commands all beasts. The ancient sacred flame order commands including humans. Why do humans worship the order so much? Since it's the ancient sacred flame order, it means that it's close to the present. It's just a token. Is there a need to do that? Sima Yue didn't understand. Rumor has it that there's a mysterious power in the order. The same power as the mythical dragon order. It's different. The power in the mythical dragon order was left behind by the green dragon god. However, the power in the sacred flame order seems to be related to advancement. Once you get it, You can advance to a higher level. Can't people from the divine region become emperors? That's only the emperors. They can't advance to a higher level. Zhao Ruixiang's words were filled with helplessness. If that wasn't the case, why would the sacred flame order be respected so much? You're from the divine region, Sima Yue said with certainty. That's right. I came here for some reason. Zhao Ruixiang didn't deny it. Since he said so, it was obvious. Moreover, Sima Yue had some understanding of the divine region. She knew about the people above. Hence, there was no need to deny it. Since you know so much about the sacred flame order, why did you keep it for yourself? Sima Yue asked. Moreover, according to what you said, the sacred flame order has the power to command the world. Why are you still afraid of the Dark Dragon Guard, and want to give it to me instead of ruling them? An ordinary man's wealth is his own ruin. Zhao Xiangrui smiled bitterly. Moreover, the power of the sacred flame order is only in legends. I've studied it for so many years and couldn't find anything special about it. I can't even hope to use it to command the world. If one couldn't break the power within, it wouldn't be the power to command the world. Instead, it would be the talisman of death. He was well aware of the logic behind it. I cherish my life. If the Dark Dragon Guard comes, I won't force it to stay for my own life. Now that I'm giving it to you, I just want to form a good relationship with you. This thing was given to anyone. However, if it was given to the Dark Dragon Guard, Musi's usefulness would end here. If it was given to her, Musi's life could be saved. Those people would definitely bring Musi to find her. Since that's the case, thank you very much. Sima Yue reached out and touched the box. She felt her whole body tremble, and there was suddenly something in her mind. Chapter 22:12. Wu Lingyu and Zhao Ruixiang both noticed her momentary pause. Zhao Ruixiang looked at her excitedly and said, Miss Yue, did you discover something? He had held it in his hands for more than 100 years without discovering it. Did she discover something the moment she touched it? If that was the case, she might be able to understand the mystery behind it. No, I just felt a familiar aura. But I can't remember where I've seen it before. Sima Yue shook her head. She opened the box and saw an ancient token lying inside. It was no different from a normal token. In fact, it was even worse. It looked like an ordinary piece of metal with the word fire carved on it. She looked at the token in her hands, and then put it back. She kept the token, and there was nothing strange about it. I still have something to ask City Lord Zhao. She looked at Zhao Ruixiang. The people who captured Musi were the black-clothed men. But now Musi is with the Dark Dragon Guard. Do you know what's the connection between them? For example, could the black-clothed men be controlled by the Dark Dragon Guard? I don't think so. Zhao Ruixiang rejected. As far as I know, the Dark Dragon Guard doesn't have any other forces here. So, you're a member of the Dark Dragon Guard? This is the Dark Dragon Guard's territory? Sima Yue said. You're helping Musi's father and even hiding the sacred fire insignia. Aren't you betraying the Dark Dragon Guard? You're mistaken. I'm not a member of the Dark Dragon Guard, Zhao Ruixiang said. I just happen to know some things. He didn't elaborate, which meant that he didn't plan to talk about it. Sima Yue didn't ask any further. She only reminded him to inform her immediately if there was any news about Musi. Then she left. The butler sent them off. Someone walked in from outside and saw Zhao Ruixiang, who was still in deep thought. He asked, Big brother, how was it? Did she take it? This matter concerns her disciple. How could she not take it? Zhao Ruixiang replied. It's good that you've taken it. I've finally given away this hot potato. Zhao Ruixiang sat next to him. Seeing that he was still lost in thought, he asked, Big brother, what are you thinking about? I'm thinking that it might not be a hot potato for her. Zhao Ruixiang was still thinking about Sima Yue's reaction. Judging from her expression, she must have discovered something. If that's really the case, then it's also his opportunity. Zhao Ruixiang didn't mind at all. So you don't have to worry about it. As long as she can help us get through this crisis, it's fine. You're right. Let's deal with this matter properly. As long as they don't discover those things, it won't affect us. Zhao Ruixiang said. With Sima Yue here, and with the sacred flame insignia, we won't be affected. Let's just watch the show. Let's hope that the higher-ups don't find out about this so that we can have more time. At this moment, Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu had already left the city lord's residence. They didn't know about the two brothers' words and intentions. However, even if she knew, she wouldn't care. Because she had no other choice. She couldn't ignore Musi's life. What did you sense from the sacred flame insignia? Wu Lingyu asked. The aura of the chaotic world. Sima Yue said. A very thick aura of the chaotic world. The sacred flame insignia has the aura of the chaotic world. That's right. Sima Yue nodded. I'm guessing that I have the aura of the chaotic world on me. That's why I triggered it and sensed it. Looks like this sacred flame insignia has been around for quite some time. Wu Lingyu said. At least it was created when the chaotic world was connected to the outside world. I'll study this properly when I get back. All right, let's see when those people come knocking on our door. Knowing that they will come, I'm relieved. Let's go back to the hotel. By the time they got back, Siyu and Third Mo had already eaten all the delicacies she made and checked in. You guys want to stay too? Sima Yue thought that they would leave after telling her the news. Of course we're staying. Siyu went up and hugged her shoulder. Don't worry, we won't affect your relationship even if we stay here. Just treat us as if we don't exist. She emphasized the word relationship, causing Sima Yue to roll her eyes at her. If you guys want to stay, then stay. Anyway, I need strong men. If you guys want to stay, then go ahead. Why you want to fight? Who offended you? Speaking of which, what happened when you guys left just now? Siyu asked a series of questions. Sima Yue explained the situation briefly. She also told her about going to the city lord's residence and the sacred flame insignia. When Siyu heard about the sacred flame insignia, she was extremely shocked. She cried out, You really have the sacred flame insignia? Quick, let me see. Sima Yue took out the sacred flame insignia and showed it to her. After she saw it, she patted Sima Yue's shoulder excitedly and said, It's really the sacred flame insignia. It's really the sacred flame insignia. You know about it? The sacred flame insignia. Of course I know about such a powerful thing. Siyu said excitedly. This is the sacred flame insignia that can command the entire world. Is this thing real? Sima Yue asked her. Yes. Siyu said confidently. I've seen the sacred flame insignia circulating outside. It looks the same, but this one has a very ancient aura. It's definitely the ancient sacred flame insignia. There are imitations now. When the ancient sacred flame insignia went missing, someone made an imitation. Siyu said. But that sacred flame insignia isn't useless. It's still very influential in the divine realm. It's in the hands of the strongest power now, but some people don't recognize it. They only recognize the ancient sacred flame insignia. You know about all this. When you were in hibernation, we went up there and followed Big Brother, and the rest to gain some knowledge. Siyu flipped the sacred flame insignia back and forth and sighed. I didn't expect this thing to appear with you. If it appears, who knows what kind of storm it will cause in the future. I see that you're very excited. Aren't you worried about me? What do you have to worry about? Even if they know that this thing is with you, they'll be worried about other people. Siyu pouted. But speaking of which, you really can't spread this out now. If the ancient sacred flame insignia appears, the current sacred flame insignia will become a piece of scrap metal. The people above will definitely not allow it. When the time comes, whether or not they would come and snatch it or do something else would become something to be expected. At this moment, Zhao Ruixiang contacted her again. Miss Yue, Musi and the Dark Dragon Guard have entered the city. Chapter 22:13. Musi was here. His speed was out of her expectations, and she was looking forward to it. Zhao Ruixiang had sent people to keep an eye on them from the start, so he knew the moment they entered the city. But he didn't expect them to be so fast. He had just passed the item to Sima Yue, and they were already here. Luckily he was here before them. Sima Yue didn't rush over to find Musi immediately. With the ancient sacred flame insignia in her hands, she only needed to wait here. Now she needed to find out more about the sacred flame insignia from Siyu. That night, Sima Yue finally saw Musi for the first time after she woke up. Musi looked the same as he did in the image recording stone. He was skinnier, his cheeks were sunken and his eyes were hollow. Sima Yue's heart ached. What exactly did he have to go through to make him like this? Musi didn't expect that the last person he saw would be her. When he saw her, there was finally a ripple in his dead eyes. He opened his mouth but his throat felt like it was stuck. He tried for a long time, but he couldn't call her master. The first to speak was Sima Yue. She looked at Musi apologetically. "I'm sorry, master is late." Musi's eyes were slightly moist. He shook his head and didn't blame her. 2 years ago, the news of her waking up had spread across the entire continent. Even he, who was in a remote place, heard about it. Knowing that she had finally woken up, his heart that had been hanging for over 100 years was finally at ease. But his heart only jumped for a moment before falling silent again. How could he face her now? He even felt that he was ashamed to even stand in front of her. "Sima Yue, you're really fast," a man said with a hoarse voice. His voice was very hoarse, as if his throat was burned by fire. "Since you know who I am, you should know why I'm here." Sima Yue shifted her gaze away from Musi and stared at that person. "Hand the item over, and we can consider not being calculative about your involvement in this matter. However, Musi's father is a traitor to the sect. He must return with us to atone for his sins. I don't care whose son Musi is, and I don't care what relationship he has with you. He's my disciple now, you have to keep him here." Sima Yue's attitude was firm. There was no room for negotiation. "Dream on. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. I'll return those words to you." How arrogant. Until now, no one has dared to say those words to us. Do you think that just because you have a bit of strength, you dare to clamor with us? The Dark Dragon Guard laughed contemptuously. Some people really think they're invincible. I don't think I'm invincible, but I can still deal with you guys today. Sima Yue said, "As for whether it will offend the Dark Dragon Guard or not, and whether it is strong enough to hunt me down, I am not considering it now." "If you're not considering it, Musi won't consider it too?" The person who spoke glanced at Musi. The threat was obvious. Originally, they wouldn't care about the people in this world, and would just kill them if they wanted to. However, after walking around this continent for so many years, they heard too many things about her, and decided not to fight with her directly. It would be troublesome if they offended the people behind her. Their main purpose for coming out this time was to find the ancient sacred flame order. It would be best to avoid trouble. It seemed that they saw Sima Yue's determination, and didn't want to fight with her head-on, so they could only start with Musi. They knew how much Musi cared about Sima Yue. He wouldn't involve her. Musi looked at Sima Yue and wanted to say something, but Sima Yue glared at him. "I don't want to say that if you do such a stupid thing. Don't call me your master, but you know my temper." Musi swallowed the words that were about to come out of his mouth. He knew that no matter what happened, she wouldn't give up on him. Even if he told her not to care about him, she wouldn't give up on him if he was willing to go back with them. However, it was because of this that he felt even more uncomfortable. Sima Yue saw that he had settled down, so she retracted her gaze and continued to speak to the Dark Dragon Guard. "I'll say it one last time, I can give you the thing, but you can keep the person. From now on, you're not allowed to disturb our lives. If you can do it, take the thing and leave. If you can't do it, I'll take your life today and you won't be able to get the thing." The Dark Dragon Guard hesitated, wondering if he should kill her now. "If I were you, I'd take the thing and leave." Zhao Ruiqing appeared on the roof and looked at the Dark Dragon Guard. "Take the thing and go back, at least you'll still be alive. If you don't agree, you'll lose your life, your family will also lose their lives." The Dark Dragon Guard recognized Zhao Ruiqing, but he didn't know who he was. However, he obviously listened to his words and after hesitating for a while he gave in. "All right, give the thing to me and I'll return the person to you." Sima Yue took out the box. With just a glance, they confirmed the authenticity of the thing. Sima Yue threw the box over. That person caught it and opened it to take a look. Then he waved his hand and left with his people, leaving Musi behind. Musi stood at the same spot. The empty street made his figure look exceptionally lonely. Sima Yue walked over and touched his head like before. Her eyes were filled with heartache. Musi. Musi then spoke for the first time. Master. His empty eyes finally focused, and a teardrop fell from the corner of his eye. He looked like a child who had been lost and had just seen his loved one. Sima Yue saw him like this and couldn't say what she wanted to say. In the end, it all turned into a word of apology. I'm sorry for bringing you out of Ghost City. I'm sorry for bringing you out, but not being able to protect you. I'm sorry for taking so long to find you. I'm sorry for letting you go through so much, for letting you suffer so much. Musi shook his head and smiled. Master, it's all right. I'm fine. Anyone could tell if he was fine or not. Sima Yue's heart ached, but she didn't expose him. She only nodded and said, I'll give you a good check when we get back. Musi paused for a moment and replied, all right. Sima Yue's heart ached. Siyu saw that she was upset and walked over. Yue, the thing you gave him just now was fake, right? It's real. It can't be? You actually gave the real thing to them? That's the immemorial sacred fire insignia. You just gave it to them like that? Siyu shouted and broke the uncomfortable atmosphere. Sima Yue tucked her hair behind her ear. Yes, I gave it to them. But they definitely won't use it. It's just a useless insignia. Chapter 22:14. Siyu's heart still ached. What a pity, that's the ancient sacred flame insignia. You didn't even blink and gave it away. With your strength, it shouldn't be a problem to deal with these people. There's no benefit in holding that thing in my hands. It's a disaster. Sima Yue wasn't reluctant at all. Don't you want to rule the world? Siyu didn't give up. I don't have that thought. How tiring would it be to rule the world? For someone like her, who always left everything to others, this kind of thing made her feel irritated just thinking about it. That's true. Siyu hesitated for a while before giving up. Anyway, that thing didn't belong to her. Zhao Ruiqing thought that the thing he gave out was a fake, but now he knew that he really gave the ancient sacred flame insignia away. Her temperament was so good, she wasn't tempted at all. Sima Yu also looked at him at this time, nodded at him and said gratefully, thank you. If it wasn't for him, the Dark Dragon Guard wouldn't have agreed so easily. Although they could kill these people, it would be more troublesome if they compared the two. Also, she didn't want to hold the ancient sacred flame insignia in her hands. Handing it over in such a big way wouldn't bring her too much trouble. She brought Musi back to the inn after thanking him. Zhao Ruiqing watched them go in, and left after staying for a while. The other onlookers also left, and some people quickly spread the news of what had happened here. Although they didn't know who the other party was, they knew that the other party was very powerful. The thing that Sima Yue gave was also very powerful. After entering the inn, Sima Yue asked Wu Lingyu to bring Musi to wash up. She didn't know what they talked about in the room, but when they came out, Musi's condition was much better. Let me check for you. Sima Yue was afraid that there was some injury or poison in his body that would bring trouble in the future. So she insisted even though he wasn't willing. Musi stretched out his wrist and lowered his eyes to hide his emotions. But the moment Sima Yue touched him, his body trembled slightly. Sima Yue examined him and her eyebrows furrowed tighter and tighter. When she retracted her hand, her expression was ugly. Musi's life force was sucked out. If this continued, he wouldn't be able to hold on for a few years. If he knew this would happen, he would have killed those people even if it would bring trouble to himself. Your injuries from before haven't healed, so there's some side effects. But it's okay, I'll help you. She tried to make her voice as normal as possible. Okay. Musi understood his own body very well, but he also knew that she would help him recuperate. Actually, with his current thoughts, he would rather his body continue to deteriorate like this. He couldn't bear to commit suicide, but he didn't want to live an ignoble life either. But after Sima Yue, Sima Yue's right, Yue. I'll refine pills for you. Sima Yue left Musi and Wu Lingyu behind. and went into the spirit pagoda to refine pills. When she came out, other than pills, she also made a table full of his favorite dishes. Musi smiled as he ate his favorite dishes. Before his master left, she said that she would make delicious food for him, but he didn't expect that he would wait for 100 years for this meal. And their state of mind was completely different. After he finished eating and rested for a while, the sky was bright. When the first ray of light shone on him through the window, he felt the warmth of dawn for the first time in many years. Musi, I'm going to give you acupuncture. Sima Yue came to his room and said, Yes, master. He returned to the bedside and slowly took off his clothes with his back facing her. Sima Yue looked at his body full of scars and his skinny body. Her tears finally fell. Musi turned around and saw her tears. For the first time, there was panic in his calm eyes. He wanted to cover his body with his clothes, but he also wanted to wipe her tears. He was like a panicked child. Master, don't cry. I'm fine. These are all injuries from the past. They don't hurt anymore. He didn't speak for so many years, so he didn't know how to comfort people. Sima Yue opened her mouth, but before she could say anything, her tears fell even harder. She couldn't imagine what he had been through all these years. No wonder his personality became so quiet. No wonder he became so gloomy. No wonder his eyes were so empty. No wonder he had no hope in life. Master, I'm really fine. Musi finally gave up covering his body and reached out to wipe her tears. But his hand stopped when it was about to touch her. Master, you found me. I won't dwell in the past. I'll live well. Sima Yue wiped her tears. Okay. Go lie down, I'll give you acupuncture. Musi saw that her emotions had stabilized, so he obediently went to lie down on the bed and let Sima Yue do acupuncture for him. Sima Yue took 2 deep breaths and controlled her emotions. Her movements were smooth and she finished the first acupuncture very quickly. She kept the silver needles and Musi got up to put on his clothes. When he was putting on his clothes, he looked at her busy back and bit his lips. Master, the person who took me away. He stopped when he said this. He didn't know if he should tell her the rest of the story. I know. The person who took you away is Xian Xiuhe, Sima Yue said. Master, you know? Musi was surprised. When Xian Xiuhe took him away from Sima family, no one knew. His appearance at that time was very different from usual. Even those who were familiar with him might not be able to recognize him. And he had been controlled the whole time. He had never spread this news. How did she know? Sima Yue told him about the scene when he was taken away. She also said that she waited for 10 years before waking up. At that time, she couldn't find his whereabouts. So that was it. No wonder they knew that he was the one who took him away. Xian Xiuhe is now the one who controls the men in black. Everyone else listens to his orders. Musi said. But I think he's very strange. Sometimes he's very nice, sometimes he's very cruel. It's like he's not him. He's being controlled by an evil force. Sima Yue explained to him. Do you know what's their relationship with the Dark Dragon Guard? Why did you appear with the Dark Dragon Guard when they took you away? It seems like there's some agreement between them. Musi said. I didn't hear their conversation at that time, but the way they interacted didn't seem like a superior and subordinate. Seems like you don't know either. In that case, I can only ask him personally. Chapter 22:15. Musi understood what she meant. She was going to find him and ask him about it personally. Actually, before I came to find you, I had already gone to Xian City. But when I reached there, I was waiting for your news, so I rushed over. Sima Yue said. Now that I'm calling you, you should come out. It's time to settle this matter. Musi lowered his eyes. Then when are you going? There's no rush. Let's nurse your body back to health first. Sima Yue said. Great-grandfather and the rest are investigating the black-robed men. Once it's confirmed that this matter is related to Xianqiu clan, we won't be so passive anymore. When Musi heard that she wasn't going now, his lips curled into a smile. All right. At this moment, he was finally a little happy. In order to nurse Musi's body back to health, Sima Yue went to find a courtyard. The place wasn't big, but it was enough for them to live in. This was also found with the help of Zhao Ruiqing and the rest. These days, Sima Yue gave Musi acupuncture, diet, medicine and various other methods. Musi's body was slowly getting better. After a few months, his body was more or less recovered. During this period, Wu Lingyu would leave for a period of time, but most of the time, she was still here. Siyu and Third Mo didn't stay here for long before they went to Ghost City. Sima Yue guessed that she went back to talk about the ancient sacred flame order. At the same time, the black-robed men and the Qi spirits matter was finally exposed. Everyone knew that this matter was related to Xianqiu clan. At first, they didn't believe it, but in front of the evidence, everyone was silent. They went to Xianqiu clan's land but realized that it was already empty. Sima Yue wasn't surprised when she heard the news. With her understanding of Xianqiu he probably moved Xianqiu clan away before she went to Xian City. Now, it only confirmed her conjecture. Musi sat quietly in front of her. After a few months of nursing, he had gained quite a bit of weight. He didn't look as skinny as before. He looked a little chubby. "Master, where do you think Xianqiu clan will move to?" he asked. Sima Yue's hand trembled, and a cluster of flames shot out from between her fingers, burning the message paper into ashes. The world is so big, it's really hard to guess. Sima Yue didn't know where Xianqiu clan could be hiding. In such a big world, as long as one had the intention, it would be very easy to hide. However, as long as the men in black are still walking outside, there will always be traces left behind. "I've almost recovered. Shall we go back?" Musi said. He was satisfied that Sima Yue had stayed here for such a long time because of him. He couldn't force her to stay here any longer. She had her own things to do. "Yes, it's time to go back," Sima Yue replied. After sending them back to the Sima family, Wu Lingyu returned to the Devil Realm. He had already squeezed out a few months to be able to spend time with her here. Now that the situation over there was grim, he had no choice but to go back. Sima Yue didn't ask him to stay, because she knew that he had no way out now. Not only did he have to bear his own hatred, he also had to bear the lives of countless people who followed him. Once they failed, those people were destined to be consigned to eternal damnation. However, even though she understood, she was still reluctant to see him leave again. She wasn't in a good mood. Fortunately, after returning home, a piece of good news washed away the disappointment in her heart. Yu Kaluo was pregnant. Sima Yue remembered that the last time she left home, she wanted them to have another child. It had already been 2 years, and they finally had another child. Sima Yue looked at Yu Kaluo's slightly swollen belly and smiled. "Looks like I'll be an elder sister soon." "Yes, there's still 5 more months," Yu Kaluo smiled. "That's great." Sima Yue stretched out her hand and touched Yu Kaluo's belly. "I'm going to do some research on how to adjust the child's body in the womb, and let him win at the starting line." Now that she was still pregnant, this was the best time to improve his talent. If it was done well, the child's talent would be very good. This was something that couldn't be fixed the day after tomorrow. Hence, in the following days, other than adjusting Musi's body, she also researched on ways to improve the child's talent and physique. Yu Kaluo didn't reject the food that she prepared and ate everything. For the child, she pushed back all her other plans. She originally planned to accompany him until he was born, but she didn't expect that she would have to leave after returning home for a month. In her courtyard, Sima Yue looked helplessly at Dark, who suddenly appeared. Must it be at this time? She was just touching Yu Kaluo's belly and interacting with the child inside. And when she returned, she saw this fellow sitting in the courtyard. The first thing he said when he saw her was, "It's time for you to fulfill your promise." Previously in the Ghost Realm, Sima Yue promised him that as long as he could stop Wu Lingyu and the others, she would cook for him for 2 years. After returning to the human realm, he gave her a small throne, but didn't mention this matter. She thought that he had forgotten. She didn't expect him to bring it up at this time. "That's right." Dark faintly glanced at her. "Then I'll go and prepare," Sima Yue said. Dark agreed. She went to tell Yu Kaluo and the others that she was going to the underworld, and gave them the method to recuperate. Then she went to tell the others. After returning, she said to Dark, "I want to take Musi with me." "Up to you. Such a weak person. It's good to train him and then return him to you. Sima Yue and Mu Si went to the underworld together. She came and left in a hurry. Many people didn't even see her face before she left again. Unfortunately, she couldn't see her brother being born. When they arrived at the underworld, Mu Si was taken away by Huan. Sima Yue returned to Dark's small broken palace. After so many years, you haven't repaired this place. She curled her lips and said in disdain, "It's just a place to live." Dark didn't care about this at all. He took Sima Yue to the courtyard prepared for her. Compared to the simple appearance of other places, her place was much more luxurious. However, she saw some uncoordinated decorations here. She came to the crib and poked it twice, saying, "My mother is pregnant, but it's useless for you to make this here." Dark rolled his eyes at her. "This is prepared for you." "Me?" Sima Yue's mouth twitched. "I'm so old, I won't sleep in a crib." Chapter 22:16. She was stunned when she felt her pulse. Then she was overjoyed. She was really pregnant. "I'm pregnant." Her cheerful look made her look a little silly. "I've never seen anyone as silly as you," Ming said in disdain. Sima Yue chuckled. Then she remembered something important. "How did you know that I'm pregnant?" It had only been a month. She did not even realize that she was pregnant. How did he know? Moreover, he had prepared a crib for her. This meant that he already knew. "You won't understand even if I tell you." Ming did not intend to explain. He would not tell her that he had been predicting when she would be pregnant. At his level, it was easy for him to predict such a small thing. However, it would be too degrading for him to say it out loud. He was the king of the underworld. How could he predict when she would be pregnant? He would never say such a thing. "I know even if you don't say it. You must have predicted my fate." Sima Yue was not stupid. She knew it without thinking. "Humph," Ming snorted. He did not deny it. "If you know that I'm pregnant, why did you bring me here?" Sima Yue asked. She had not shared such a big news with her family and friends. Now that she was here, she did not have the chance to tell them. "Do you think that you can take care of the baby there?" Ming glanced at her. His words were full of disdain. She was in the underworld. How could she not care about what happened there? If something happened because of this, how could she face the child in her stomach? Sima Yue touched her nose. With her personality, she really could not ignore it. This was the only way. "Don't think that you don't have to fulfill your promise just because you're pregnant. You still have to cook for me here for a year. If you ask for leave, you have to make up for it later. Anyway, you have to cook for a year before you can leave." "Oh." Sima Yue touched her stomach. She could not help but smile when she thought about the little life inside. It was her and Ling Yu's child. Unfortunately, she could not tell him this good news now. How would he react when he saw the little guy? The news of Sima Yue's pregnancy spread quickly in the underworld. Everyone was happy for her. There was an endless stream of people who came to see her. Sima Yue had nothing to do here other than cooking and recuperating. She could pass the time when people came to see her. But Ming saw that she did not rest all day and blocked all the people who came to see her. Since the Netherworld King had spoken, no one dared to come. Thus, she once again lived a peaceful life. Not long after, she checked her own pulse, then stood there in a daze without saying anything. Ming was basking in the sun with his eyes closed. He felt that something was wrong with her, so he opened his eyes and asked, "What's wrong?" "2. Yes. I'm pregnant with 2 children. Sima Yue said. "I'm pregnant with twins. Not bad." The smile in Ming's eyes deepened. Sima Yue looked at him and subconsciously covered her stomach, asking, "What kind of bad idea are you thinking of?" "You can be a little slower," Ming said. "You really have designs on my child." Sima Yue's face darkened as she looked at him warily. "Why are you so nervous?" "I won't take their lives." Ming sneered. It was his first time seeing her like this. "What do you want to do?" "I just want to find a successor." Ming did not hide his thoughts. "I was thinking about how to tell you. Now that there are 2 children, I only want one." "No." Sima Yue rejected him without thinking. "The children are mine." You can't snatch them. I didn't say that the children are not yours. I just want to choose a successor. Then you will be the underworld's mother, who will dare to bully you in the future. I was just saying, how could you be so kind as to bring me here to nurture the baby? Sima Yu glared at him. If you want a successor, go give birth to one yourself. What are you trying to do with my child? Not interested. Ming looked disgusted. She wanted him to give birth to a child? He would be disgusted to death. What if I'm pregnant with 2 girls? No one said that the underworld must be a man. What if they are not willing? What if they are willing? That won't do either. Sima Yue left the courtyard angrily. She returned to her room and slammed the door. This guy was up to no good from the beginning. Ming saw her reaction and smiled. He lay back on the rocking chair and continued to sleep. He said faintly, "It's time to cook." After a while, Sima Yue came out of the house and went to the kitchen to cook for him. However, the dishes today tasted strange. They were either too much salt, too much sugar, or too spicy. "Don't waste it," Sima Yue said when she served the dishes. Ming was not a master who would let himself be wronged. He also felt that it was not easy for a pregnant woman to cook. She should not waste it. Hence, he waved his hand and rewarded all the dishes to Black Shadow and the others. He even repeated her words, "Don't waste it." Therefore, Black Shadow and the others each held a plate of strange dishes and ate. They were on the verge of breaking down. Why were they, the soldiers, the ones who were injured when the king and Miss fought? Sima Yue was even angrier when she saw that she did not trick him. Ming said calmly, "If a mother is always angry, it will affect the child's character in the future." Sima Yue was speechless. All right, she could not even be angry now. However, the anger in her heart could not be appeased. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. She stared at him angrily. Ming sighed helplessly when he saw that she was so angry. He picked up his chopsticks and ate the plate of fried food that was left on the table. His movements were still so elegant. He did not even frown. After eating, he looked at her and saw the smile on her face. He got up and left. What a little woman. However, this matter was considered to be over. Sima Yue accepted his idea. However, she also promised him that if the 2 little fellows were not willing, he would not force them. Ming did not say anything. He only said that they would be willing. That confident look made her want to go up and give him a few punches. She had been pregnant for more than a month, but she did not have any reaction. He thought that she would not be pregnant. However, not long after the twins were born, she began to vomit. When Ming saw her vomiting, he thought that something had happened and wanted to find a doctor for her. After knowing that it was a normal reaction, he would stay far away from her every time she vomited. It was too smelly. It was too ugly. Sima Yue understood the disdain in his eyes and rolled her eyes at him. However, before she could roll her eyes, she began to vomit again. Ming frowned slightly when he saw that she was about to vomit her bile. It turned out that being pregnant was so difficult. Was it a little too much for him to snatch her child? No, she would vomit when she was pregnant. He just wanted the extra one. When he thought of this, he was no longer conflicted. Chapter 22:17. Sima Yue finally experienced how difficult it was to be pregnant. She had only heard about it before and didn't think that it was very painful. She felt that it was a little pretentious for pregnant women to say that it was uncomfortable. Only now did she realize that it was easy for her to say that. However, she didn't feel that uncomfortable when she saw Yu Keluo being pregnant. Could it be because of her physique? She had been vomiting for more than 2 months, and it was only when she entered the 4.5 month that the symptoms of morning sickness gradually subsided. Ever since she started to vomit, she stopped cooking for Ming. Ming didn't mention it either. Instead, he brought a lot of good food for her to eat, saying that it was to improve the child's talent. In his original words, "Their parents are already like this. There's no way to change them anymore. We can't let them continue like this." Seeing that he had brought a lot of good things over, she endured it and didn't chase him out. In the later stages, symptoms such as drowsiness also came. Often, she would fall asleep after flipping through 2 pages while reading a book. There were other discomforts later on, but she endured them one by one. When she entered the 8th month, the two little guys couldn't bear it anymore and wanted to come out. The process of giving birth wasn't smooth. Because they were twins and they were born prematurely, it was very painful. Ming and Black Shadow were waiting anxiously outside. Black Shadow asked, "Didn't they say that giving birth would cause a lot of pain? Why didn't young Miss scream?" "That's for ordinary people. She wouldn't even scream during the lightning tribulation. How could she scream in this kind of pain?" Huan explained. "That's true." Black Shadow nodded in understanding. "Did you bring Wu Lingyu? After giving birth, she would want to see him." "I've already sent someone. They should be here soon." Huan glanced at Ming after he finished speaking. Although he said that he despised the two of them, he was actually very concerned about them. Soon, Wu Lingyu was brought over. He only glanced at the three people in the courtyard before hurriedly pushing the door open and entering. Sima Yoyue's body was soaked in sweat, and her hair was stuck to her face. She looked very embarrassed. A young-looking woman was delivering the baby for her. Yue. Wu Lingyu's heart clenched when he saw her like this. He walked over and grabbed her hand with trembling hands. He didn't know that she was pregnant with his child. He hadn't been with her for so long. She was still in so much pain, but he was the last one to arrive. "It's okay, our baby is coming out." Sima Yue smiled at him, but she held his hand tightly because of the severe pain. Sima Yue was not sure if it was because they knew that their father was here, but the two little fellows soon landed on the ground. What surprised Sima Yue was that the two little fellows were actually twins. "Congratulations, Mississippi. You have a son and a daughter." The woman who delivered the baby smiled and congratulated her. Then two more people came in to change the bedsheets and clean her body. However, they were all stopped by Wu Lingyu. He was the one who did it. After Sima Yue finished tidying up, she leaned into Wu Lingyu's arms and looked at the two little guys and said happily, "They look pretty good." It was said that newborn babies were like two wrinkled, black and ugly monkeys. However, these two little fellows were white and clean. They didn't look like newborn babies at all. Wu Lingyu looked at the two little fellows and didn't pay much attention to them. He allowed the people in the house to carry them out and show them to Ming. "How are you feeling now?" Compared to the two little fellows, he was more concerned about her in his arms. "I'm fine." Sima Yue rubbed against his arms. "I was a little exhausted when I gave birth. Now that I've taken the pill and rested for so long, I've recovered a lot of my strength." "Really?" Wu Lingyu was worried. He was afraid that she would say that to comfort him. "We're cultivators. This is nothing compared to the lightning tribulation. Why would I lie to you?" Sima Yue felt the difference between cultivators and those who didn't. In her previous life, she had seen people who gave birth to babies. After giving birth, the pregnant woman would collapse. They weren't like her. After the pain, she felt much better. People said that giving birth to babies was equivalent to breaking down the whole body and reassembling it. However, for her body that had been improved by little birdie and tempered by the lightning tribulation countless times, it was really nothing. He lowered his head and kissed her forehead. He said emotionally, "Thank you, Yue. Have you thought of a name for the baby?" Sima Yue looked up and stared at him. Wu Lingyu shook his head. "On the way here, I was thinking about you giving birth. How could I have the time to think of a name for the baby? There's no rush. Anyway, they don't need a name now." Sima Yue said. "I've thought of a few names before. We can discuss them together when the time comes." "Okay. I'll put you down. You can rest for a while." Although she was in good health, giving birth was still a physically taxing job. She would be a little tired. "Stay with me." "Okay." Wu Lingyu put her down, then went to the inside of the bed. He reached out and hugged her. Seeing that she fell asleep very quickly, he kissed her forehead with heartache. Outside the house, Ming frowned when he saw the two little guys in the arms of Black Shadow and Huan. "King, look at how cute the little baby that Miss gave birth to is." Black Shadow was holding a little girl. Her fair and tender appearance really made people want to kiss her. Huan was also happy to hold the little boy. When he saw Ming frowning, the smile on his face faded. "King, what's wrong with the two little masters?" Ming didn't say anything. He stretched out his finger to poke the little girl's body, but she grabbed it. At that moment, he confirmed the guess in his heart and frowned even more. This time, even Black Shadow noticed and asked nervously, "King, what's wrong with the little miss?" "Bad luck," Ming said. "Bad luck?" Black Shadow and Huan both looked at Ming, waiting for him to explain. "Too bad." Ming didn't answer and sighed. "King, don't talk to us in riddles. What do you mean by bad luck?" Black Shadow was impatient. Seeing him like this, he became even more anxious. "This little girl's fate is extremely bad. I really don't know how many wicked things her mother did to give her such a fate. Extremely bad luck." This was the first time they had encountered such a person who was born with bad luck. "King, how bad is the little miss fate?" Huan asked. "To put it simply, if someone else gets a divine weapon, she can only get scrap iron. If someone else gets a divine medicine, she can only get the weeds on the side of the road. She may trip over a stone while walking, but if she does nothing, she may be hit by something falling from the sky." Black Shadow and Huan both twitched the corners of their mouths. Her fate was so bad? Then would she be able to grow up smoothly? "King, is there any way to resolve it?" "No. Heaven has its own plans. Only when she meets the person in her destiny can her fate be resolved." What Ming didn't say was that in the reincarnation of heaven, things will go in the opposite direction. There were still many things that he couldn't see through about the little girl's fate. He couldn't determine what her future would be. Chapter 22:18. Wu Xiaodao. When Sima Yue woke up and heard this name, she almost fainted. "You said my daughter's name is Wu Xiaodao?" She gritted her teeth when she said the name Wu Xiaodao. A fair and tender girl actually wanted to call her Wu Xiaodao. She really wanted to stab him with a knife. Ming looked at her with disdain. "Who asked you to do so many bad things and give birth to such a bad daughter? If she had a bit of luck like you, she wouldn't have to use this name to suppress it." Sima Yue was speechless. What could she do when her daughter's fate was so bad? Stuff her back and give birth to her again? Obviously not. Thus, she could only accept the name of her daughter, Wu Xiaodao. Fortunately, her son was not tortured by him. They gave him a normal name, Wu Qiao, and his nickname was Yao Yao. Xiaodao Yao Yao. Yao Yao, you are a man. You have to protect your sister in the future, understand? Sima Yue hugged each of them and kissed her daughter and son. Unlike Wu Xiaodao, Wu Qiao's fate was extremely good. He would definitely protect Wu Xiaodao in the future. When she found out about the fate of the two little guys, she sighed. If only she could combine the two of them, her daughter wouldn't be so miserable. Unfortunately, the two little guys couldn't understand anything now. They only knew how to blow bubbles at her in their swaddling clothes. "Let me do it. You have a good rest." Wu Lingyu took her children over. The two little guys didn't seem to like their father very much and started crying as soon as she came over. At first, it was Wu Xiaodao who cried at the top of her lungs. Then, Yao Yao also joined in the fun and cried with her. The two little guys were in good health. Their voices were loud and clear. When they cried together, they attracted the attention of others. Wu Lingyu saw the two little guys crying loudly. She tried to coax her daughter and son, but none of them could be coaxed. They must be hungry. Sima Yue took the two little guys back and chased everyone out of the house. Then she began to feed the two little guys. Fortunately, she was in good health and had eaten a lot of good food. Now, she didn't have to worry about not having enough for the two little guys. After the two little guys had eaten and drunk their fill, they fell asleep contentedly with the smell of their mother. Sima Yue covered them with a thin blanket and stared at their sleeping faces. She felt like her heart was stuffed to the brim. She didn't expect that she would become a mother so soon. Their arrival was a little sudden, but it made her feel happy. As for Xiao Dao, he would just give her more protection in the future. She would grow up safely. Moreover, didn't Ming say that so long as she met the person she was destined to meet, then her fate would improve? As long as he was in this world, they would find him. Because of the grim situation in the Devil Realm, Wu Lingyu only stayed here for 2 months before leaving. Before he left, Sima Yue leaned into his embrace and said, "After I've settled the matter with the men in black, I'll go to the Devil Realm to look for you." "No need. You just need to accompany the child. I can deal with the devil realm myself. Wu Lingyu didn't want her to worry about other things after becoming a mother. Okay. Sima Yue agreed. They could talk about the rest later. If the situation permitted, she still had to go. Xiaoming's revenge hadn't been avenged yet. She had promised Xiaoming that she would take her to the devil realm to avenge her people. Wu Lingyu knew that she only agreed now. If he hadn't finished the matter at hand, she might really go. So he began to think about how to quickly solve the matter in the devil realm. Although reluctant, Wu Lingyu still said goodbye to his wife and child and returned to the devil realm. Sima Yue raised the child alone. The woman who delivered her was responsible for the rest of their lives. Everything else was left to Black Shadow and Huan. Seeing Black Shadow washing the diapers for the two little guys, Sima Yue sighed more than once. The left and right messengers of the underworld could also do such things. However, Ming didn't know where he went. He didn't come back until the two children were 1 year old. When Dark returned from the banquet, he saw that there were all kinds of things that could be used by different professions. He walked over and hung a jade pendant around Wu Xiaodao's neck. This jade pendant can suppress her fate for a period of time. It won't be a problem for her to grow up safely. After Ming finished speaking, he placed an ancient jade seal into the pile of things. The two little guys had grown up very quickly in the past year. Both of them could walk and call their mother. Now that they saw such a person suddenly appear, the two little guys weren't timid at all. Wu Xiaodao even stood up from the table and walked over to him unsteadily. She hugged him and left her saliva on his clothes. Ming frowned when he saw the wet spot on his clothes. However, when he saw her opening her small front teeth and smiling at him foolishly, he resisted the urge to throw her out. Sima Yue snickered in her heart. He, who was obsessed with cleanliness, had to endure her daughter's saliva and couldn't even flare up. She was so happy. When little Yao Yao saw his sister's silly look, he turned his gaze to the things on the table in disdain. Your Highness, miss, you can start now. Huan reminded. Ming placed Wu Xiaodao on the table and supported her with both hands. Go and choose what you like. Sima Yue also let go of little Yao Yao and let him go to the middle of the table to choose. The two little guys walked over shakily. They wanted to reach out to take something, but they fell onto the table. Xiaodao pursed her lips. She wanted to cry, but when she saw that little Yao Yao wasn't crying, she didn't cry either. Thus, the two little guys climbed on the table and sat down next to the things on the table. They slowly chose alchemy, weapon refining, array stones, bone flutes, and so on. The two little guys looked at them one by one and stuffed them into their arms. Xiaodao chose a medicinal herb and stuffed it into her mouth. She took a bite. Little Yao Yao, who was sitting at the side, reached out and pulled it away. Xiaodao was unhappy and grabbed the medicinal herb again. But this time, she didn't stuff it into her mouth. Little Yao Yao chose a pile of things on the table and stuffed them into his arms. His mother had told him to choose whatever he liked. He didn't like anything, but since his mother said that he wanted to choose, he would choose everything. But he didn't like the jade seal, so he didn't want it. After Xiaodao pulled a few things, she saw the jade seal and grabbed it with her chubby little hand. How did you make it so small? Sima Yue asked. It's a divine artifact. It still has this function. When Ming saw Xiaodao grab the jade seal, the corners of his mouth twitched. But he didn't say anything and let her take it and stuff it into her mouth. Wu Xiaodao took a bite. It was too hard. Her teeth hurt, and she wanted to cry again. When she turned around and saw that Sima Yue didn't want to talk to her, she held it back. She didn't like the thing in her hand, but she felt that it was beautiful and couldn't bear to throw it away. So she stuffed it into little Yao Yao's arms. Chapter 22:19. Wu Xiaodao gave the jade seal to little Yao Yao. At a young age, she knew that even if she didn't like good things, she had to get them into the hands of her family. However, little Yao Yao didn't like the jade seal, so he took it out and threw it away. Wu Xiaodao was unhappy. She picked up the jade seal again and stuffed it into little Yao Yao's arms. Seeing that little Yao Yao wanted to throw it away again, she burst into tears. Little Yao Yao's hand that was holding the jade seal paused in the air. He looked at Wu Xiaodao and pursed his lips. In the end, He took the jade seal back and stuffed it into the pile of things in his arms. Wu Xiaodao immediately stopped crying. Sima Yue shook her head helplessly. She was only 1 year old and already knew how to bully her younger brother. What would happen when she grew up? However, when she thought about her fate, she couldn't bear to ask too much of her mother. Xiaodao was very happy. She hugged the things and turned to look at Sima Yue with a sweet smile. That cute look made Sima Yue's heart bloom. She reached out and hugged her, kissing her on the cheek. Xiaodao grinned and hugged her. She smacked her face, leaving saliva all over it. After kissing her, she realized that she had dropped the things in her arms. She pursed her lips and was about to cry again. Sima Yue coaxed her well, and she didn't cry. Little Yao Yao, who was sitting on the table, was unhappy. He threw the things in his arms, got up, walked to Sima Yue, and stretched out his hands to ask for a hug. Sima Yue hugged Xiaodao with her left hand, and then hugged little Yao Yao with her right hand. In the past, when she encountered such a situation, Wu Xiaodao would cry and not allow Sima Yue to hug little Yao Yao. Later on, Sima Yue taught her a few times that he was her younger brother, and she had to hug him together. Only then did she accept little Yao Yao. Little Yao Yao was very sensible in this aspect. Although he would also ask for hugs and fight for favor, he would never push Xiaodao away. He was like an older brother. Sima Yue kissed little Yao Yao on the cheek and said to Ming, "Take back your jade seal. Don't look for us if you lose it later. Since he has accepted it, of course I'll leave it with him. In any case, I'll have to give it to him sooner or later." Ming didn't take the jade seal. "You're cheating. We agreed to let them choose when they grow up." Sima Yue disagreed. They can choose neither of them, but Xiaodao gave little Yao Yao a choice. And little Yao Yao also accepted it. Ming smiled treacherously. At this moment, little Yao Yao had no idea that he had been betrayed by his sister. When he grew up, even though he was extremely unwilling, he still chose to take over this thing that he didn't like for the sake of his elder sister, who was so unlucky. He wanted to be able to provide her with a strong backing when the time came. After capturing Zhou Yan, Sima Yue went to look for Ming. "I'm going back," she said straightforwardly. "It hasn't been a year yet." Ming glanced at her. "But forget it, I'll return it next time. However, you can go back, but the 2 little fellows have to stay." "Why?" Sima Yue shouted. "They're my children, so they have to follow me. Even if you want them to take over your job, you have to wait until they grow up, right? You can't deprive us of our right to be together as mother and children. Who wants to deprive you of your right?" Ming glanced at her. "But in your current situation, is it appropriate to bring them along?" Was it appropriate? Of course, it wasn't very appropriate. She had to face a lot of things when she went back, and she still had to go to the demon world. If she had to take care of the 2 children and deal with these things, she might not have so much energy. Besides this reason, I want to keep the 2 of them because now is the best time to mold their bodies. If they stay in the underworld, they can get better resources. But I've given birth. It's such a big thing, but the family doesn't know about it. They haven't seen the 2 children either. I have to bring the children back to show them. All right then, I'll go back with you. Bring the children back in 2 days. You can only come back to see them after you're done with your work. Okay. Sima Yue was reluctant, but she knew that Ming wouldn't make such a request for no reason. It wouldn't be good for them to be interrupted in the middle of molding their bodies. And the process was very painful. As a mother, she would definitely feel terrible if she saw it. She might do something that would make all the previous efforts go to waste. So he wouldn't let her see the 2 children easily. But if he did that, he would be letting the 2 children down. You don't have to worry that they won't recognize you when they see you. I'll show them your image and let them know what you're doing. Ming felt that he was very generous. Sima Yue brought the 2 children back to the Sima family. The Sima family was in an uproar all of a sudden. She actually gave birth to children. The Sima family was very excited, but the elders' faces were dark the whole time. That bastard. He actually let you give birth to children behind our backs. The next time I see him, I'll definitely beat him up until he's unrecognizable. Sima Lai was still scolding Wu Lingyu a second ago, but in the next second, he took Wu Xiaodao with a smile. Wu Xiaodao was curious about everything at this time. When she saw the beard by his lips, she stretched out her small hand to grab it. Moreover, her strength was especially strong, and she really managed to grab one of them in one go. Ioyo, this little guy is very strong. Sima Lai cried out, but his face was smiling happily. Sima Ji Yuan hugged Wu Qiao, and the little guy quietly looked at the people in the house. Facing so many strangers, he wasn't afraid at all. His temperament was completely different from his sister's. Where's father and mother? Sima Yue didn't see Sima Luxian and Yu Keluo and asked. They're taking care of Zihao. I've already sent someone to inform them. Huang Yingying said. How's little brother's health? Very good, there's no such situation. He doesn't have two attributes in his body. Huang Yingying knew what she meant. She was worried that the situation would happen. That's good. Sister. Sister. A childish voice came from outside. Then a small figure ran in from outside. After looking around the house, he directly threw himself into Yu Yue's arms. Sima Yue hugged him, carried him up and kissed him. What a smart little guy. He kept saying that he wanted to see sister, and now he finally saw you. So these were his two grandsons and granddaughters. Let me hug them. Yu Keluo smiled as she walked in. When she saw Sima Lai and the others carrying the child, she quickly walked over and took little Yao Yao from Sima Ji Yuan's hands. Wu Xiaodao, who was at the side, saw her mother carrying another child and started crying. When little Yao Yao saw her sister crying, she also started crying. And when Sima Zihao saw his mother carrying another child, he also started crying. In a moment, the house was filled with the cries of the three children. Chapter 22:20. After coaxing the three children, the house finally quieted down. However, Sima Yue and Yu Keluo did not dare to carry the other children. How are things with the Xianqiu family? Sima Yue placed Xiao Dao and Xiao Yao Yao on the ground. Perhaps they were worried that Sima Zihao would come and snatch their mother away. Each of them hugged one of her legs and did not go outside to play. You don't have to worry about this. They have already formed the anti-black-robed men alliance. The black-robed men's matter has been dug out bit by bit. It is not so difficult to deal with them. The most difficult thing was that you were in the open while the enemy was in the dark. The other party could catch you off guard, but you had no direction to attack. Now that they knew about the Xianqiu family, although they had disappeared, it was much easier this time. There were still many powers in this world. If everyone worked together, it would not be so difficult to deal with them. At least in these 2 years, the black-robed men had less time to cause trouble. Sometimes they would even find the black-robed men's nest and take the initiative to attack. You have 2 children now. Wu Lingyu is not around, so you have to spend more time taking care of them. I will pick 2 girls for you later. How can Enlei be enough? Sima Ji Yuan said. There is no need. The children will not be left at home. Sima Yue shook her head. What? Why? Sima Yue touched the heads of the 2 little fellows and said reluctantly. They will stay in the underworld for a few years. Ming will come and take them back in 2 days. Why? You don't have time to take care of the 2 little fellows. Leave them in the family. We will definitely nurture them well. Why must you send them to the underworld? Huang Yingying said unhappily. Sima Yue told them about Wu Xiaodao's bad fate, and Xiao Yao Yao taking the jade seal. At the same time, she also told them about Ming's plans. When everyone heard her words, they opened their mouths but did not say anything. Xiao Dao was such a cute girl, but she actually had a bad fate. As if to prove her words, Xiao Dao let go of her mother's leg and hid behind to play. The flower rack that was fine suddenly tilted and the vase on it fell down. Bang! The vase fell to the ground with a crisp sound. Everyone looked over and saw Xiao Dao frowning at the broken pieces on the ground. She did not know why the vase suddenly broke beside her. Sima Yu walked over, released the spatial seal, and picked up little knife. Things like this happen all the time. Ever since she learned how to crawl, she has to be extra careful. Sima Yu hugged Wu Xiaodao and sat back down. When she was 1 year old, Hades found this jade pendant for her, and she got better. Everyone looked at the vase shelf. If it wasn't for the fact that the vase was gone, they wouldn't have known what had just happened. Is there a way to resolve it? It said that you have to meet the person in your life to resolve it. Sima Yu continued. If you're with me, my fate will be suppressed a little. With him is to be with him. It to be to be. If she was with others, they would probably be unlucky too. Seeing them all frowning, Sima Yu smiled and said, you don't have to worry too much. When things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction. I believe that little dagger must have great luck waiting for him. I hope so. Knowing this, they did not object to Ming taking the children away. Compared to their love for the children, their lives and future were more important. Knowing that the two children would not stay at home for long, everyone surrounded them for the past 2 days. Little Yao Yao quietly allowed everyone to hug him. Wu Xiaodao was much more mischievous. She wanted to come down after being hugged for a while, but as soon as she landed, she was in all kinds of bad luck. She either bumped into herself or the people around her. Only now did everyone realize just how bad her fate was. But what was more surprising was that Wu Xiaodao was very safe when she was with Sima Yue, or when she was alone with Xiao Yao Yao. As long as Xiao Yao Yao held her hand, she would be safe. This meant that Xiao Yao Yao's fate was very good. 2 days later, Ming came over on time. He left Black Shadow and Huan behind and took the 2 children away. What you saw in Crazy Wife. 5th Miss Godly Doctor Chapter 2220. Crazy Wife. The anti-theft mode has been activated. Only the first half of the chapter is not connected to the previous chapter. Please search the hidden parts on Baidu. Heartless plus water. Then search Crazy Wife. 5th Miss Godly Doctor. Watch. Chapter 2221. Yue. Why are you leaving so soon? Sima Luxian came in from outside and asked Sima Yue after hearing what Yukuluo said. I had a nightmare again today. Sima Yue fed Zihao another mouthful and continued. I could feel in my dream that his strength has increased a lot in the past 2 years. He should know that I would have such a dream. You want to find Xian Qiuhe? Yukuluo asked. I want to find the power left behind by Emperor Qing Dao. Sima Yue said. I want to inherit more things and see if I can find a way to deal with him. See if I can find out where he is. She understood clearly in the past 2 days. Although these people found many people from the Xianqiu family, no one had seen Xian Qiuhe in the past 2 years. The Guild Alliance and Xian Yuan Pavilion did everything they could, but they couldn't find any trace of him. So to find him, they might have to start from the connection between her and him. Seems like you've made up your mind. Yukuluo saw her son waving his little hand at her and reached out to take him. Yes. My intuition tells me that if we don't find him soon, things will be troublesome, Sima Yue said. So I want to find him as soon as possible. Since you've decided, we won't stop you. As long as you bring those few people with you. Sima Luxian reminded her. I will. Sima Yue cherished her life more than before because she not only had her family and lover, she also had children. So nothing must happen to her, otherwise Xiao Dao and Xiao Yao Yao would lose their mother. Although the Sima family was used to her coming and going in a hurry, they were still reluctant to part with her so suddenly. After she left, Huang Yingying's eyes were red and said, This child, when will it end? There will always be someone who won't be so busy. Sima Lai hugged her shoulder. She is deeply involved in this matter and can only face it head-on. Once this matter is settled, she will be more free. How can it be so easy for her? I heard her say that she wanted to go to the Devil Realm that day. Huang Yingying really cared for her. This child, how heartbreaking. After Sima Yue left the Sima family, she didn't immediately search for the items left behind by Emperor Qing Dao. Instead, she went to the inner regions of Paramount Valley. Seeing her, Shimen Feng and Kong Sengyi were very excited. Why didn't you say anything before you came back? Yukuluo put down the things in her hands and went up to give her a big hug. Why are you here alone? Where are little nephew and little niece? Shimen Feng saw that she was alone, looked behind her, and asked with a frown. They were brought to the underworld by Ming. Sima Yue pursed her lips. Where is little Junjun? He's molding his body. This is a critical period. Yukuluo asked. What's going on? Why did you leave them in the netherworld? Sima Yue explained the matter. Shimanfeng and Yu Kaluo understood, but they were also sad that they couldn't see their nephew and niece. You'll see them eventually. Sima Yue missed them too, but it was useless. She had to go through this process. She had to settle the things in her hands quickly, so that she could see her two children quickly. So, she walked around the valley and left after meeting the people in the valley. She came and went for less than 2 days. Unfortunately, Beigong, Ziqi and the rest were out on a mission and weren't in the valley. After that, she went to Heartbroken Cliff. She first met Liang Wu Ming and Old Man Devil, then she met Old Bai and the rest. She also met Shiqiu Shuang and the rest. They didn't go to her birthday party previously. After sleeping for so long, so many things happened after she woke up. She didn't have the chance to catch up with them properly. When she came out of Paramount Valley, she followed the map in her head and started to search for the ancient tombs left behind by Emperor Qingdao. She studied the map carefully and found more than 10 places scattered in the middle, inner and outer regions. There were even 2 places in the divine territory. At this time she sighed. Luckily she had the small throne now. Otherwise she would have to spend a few years on the journey. The first tomb wasn't very far from Paramount Valley, but it wasn't very big either. There wasn't much energy left behind. She spent a month to finish absorbing it. After absorbing it, she unknowingly entered the dream again. She kept running, but this time, she wasn't panicking or afraid. Instead, she was like a bystander. However, when that hand pierced her heart and dug it out, she still felt a sharp pain and the deepest despair. The moment she opened her eyes, there was still a remnant of fear in her eyes. However, the time it took to recover was much shorter than before. In the second tomb, after absorbing it, she entered the dream again. This time, her feelings were even fainter. And this time, she could look straight into that pair of eyes. The eyes were still so beautiful. Every eyelash was still so curly and seductive. However, that pair of eyes no longer had the gentleness and warmth from before. There was only evil. However, this time they stopped looking at each other the moment her heart was dug out. He looked at the boiling hot heart in his hand and smiled evilly. Then he put it to his mouth and ate it. He grinned and his mouth was full of blood. Not bad this time. You can look into my eyes. It seems that you have improved a lot in this month. Sima Yue opened her eyes. When she thought of the pair of eyes that she looked into, the memories of Xianqiu surged up. She clenched her fists and her eyes were filled with intense hatred. Xianqiu, the cultured and elegant Xianqiu, had actually become like this. She would definitely pull it out from his body. Not a single bit would be left in his body. In the third tomb, the fourth tomb, the fifth and the sixth tomb. After she had absorbed more than half of the energy, she could no longer feel the emotions of those people in the dream. She was just a pure bystander. She watched as Xianqiu chased those girls in the dream. She watched as they ran away in a panic. She watched as he stretched his hand into those girls' hands and dug out their hearts. She watched as he ate those hearts bite by bite. She also heard his unbridled laughter and arrogant provocation. Sima Yue, I know you can hear me. Do you really want to find me and kill me now? Sima Yue was so angry that she wanted to clench her fists. However, she realized that she couldn't move at all. It was as if she was just a strand of consciousness that was listening. You are very smart. You know that this can strengthen the connection between us. So if you want to find me, continue to work hard and improve yourself. When you can see clearly where I am, you can come and find me. Sima Yue, I can't wait for you. Haha. Chapter 22-22. In the underworld, Ming threw the 2 little fellows into a pool. The 2 little fellows cried for their mother. Ming stood by the pool and said, "It's impossible for you to get up now, but if you stay here obediently for a quarter of an hour today, I'll show you what your mother is doing now. How about it?" After half a year of contact, Wu Xiaodao and the others already knew that he was a man of his word. Even if they made a fuss today, he would let them stay for a long time. If they stayed quietly, they would be able to see what their mother was doing. With this comparison, the 2 little fellows stopped making a fuss. "You said that you'll let us see our mother when we're done." Little Yao Yao spoke very smoothly now. A gentleman keeps his word. You're not a gentleman. Wu Xiaodao pouted and added. Ming. The surrounding people lowered their heads. The little miss was not even 2 years old, but her ability to add insult seemed to be innate. They wondered if it was related to her name. Ming squatted down and poked her head. Are you telling me that if you stay well, I won't let you see your mother after you come out? Wu Xiaodao immediately changed her look of disdain and looked at Ming with a smile. She said obsequiously, Uncle Ming is the best uncle. It doesn't matter if I'm a gentleman or not, right? Ming stared at her. Who taught you all this? Wu Xiaodao blinked innocently. Who taught her what? Ming stood up and threw a shadow stone to the guard beside him. Pick them up after a quarter of an hour and show them this. If they haven't stayed long enough, don't let them see it. Yes, master. The guard replied respectfully. After Ming left, the others stayed here. The 2 little fellows stayed in the pool and felt hot and cold for a while. However, in order to see their mother, neither of them made a fuss about getting up. Instead, they stayed for a quarter of an hour. The guards on the shore were moved when they saw that the 2 little fellows were so strong at such a young age. This pool was of no use to them at all, but for the 2 little fellows who had yet to start cultivating, it was still uncomfortable. However, if they started doing this now and started cultivating when they were older, their future would be very smooth. When the time was up, the guards went up to pick them up. They took off their wet clothes, wiped their small bodies dry, and changed them into clean clothes. You don't have to go through so much trouble. Just wrap it up, and it'll be fine. Wu Qiao said. Quick, let us see mother. Wu Xiaodao was even more direct. He stretched out his hand to snatch the shadow stone. He was too anxious and almost tripped over his clothes and fell to the ground. The guard quickly scooped her up and comforted her. Little miss, little young master, don't worry. I'll show you after I get dressed. You're going to get sick. If you are sick, miss will be worried. That's right. Miss is so busy down there. She's worried about you and can't see you. How torturous would that be? So little miss, little young master, you have to put on your clothes obediently. With that said, the 2 little fellows fell silent. All right then, you guys help us get dressed. We'll look at mother, Wu Qiao said. All right, your subordinate will release it for you now. 2 guards helped them get dressed. One of them released the image recorded by the shadow stone. It recorded the things that happened in the human realm. The 2 little fellows couldn't take their eyes off it. They allowed others to do whatever they wanted to them to get dressed. Sima Yue didn't know that someone was secretly recording her. She also didn't know that her 2 children were only obedient when they saw her image. At this moment, she was still running all over the world, absorbing the energy left behind by Emperor Qingdao. Every time she absorbed, she would wonder if Emperor Qingdao had left behind all his energy. Otherwise, how could there be so much energy left for her to absorb? After she absorbed the last bit of energy in this continent, there were still 2 days left before the 350 days. This time, she still entered the dream. However, she didn't see the woman running. She only saw Xianqiu He in a black cloak. Xianqiu He didn't wear a hat, revealing his handsome face. His face was much thinner and paler. His thin lips parted slightly. Yue, I finally waited for you. Then his surroundings became very clear. Although it was still night, she could still see where he was clearly. Do you still remember this place? Xianqiu He chuckled. I've been waiting for you here. Don't make me wait for too long. Sima Yue woke up. She thought about the place she saw in her dream. She closed her eyes and suppressed the anger in her heart for a long time. Cloud Sea City. He was actually in Cloud Sea City. It was the courtyard in Cloud Sea City, the herb garden where they first met. What did he mean by doing this? Nostalgia? Provocation? Or something else? She couldn't guess what he meant. She only felt endless anger. However, she knew that it wasn't suitable for her to go over like this. Anger would lower her vigilance and affect her judgment. So, she had to calm down first before going over. That's right. He appeared there to make her angry. She couldn't fall into his trap. She came out of the coffin. This was the last tomb in the primordial lands. The moment the door of the tomb closed automatically, her heart trembled. Since she chose to inherit his inheritance and inherited his power, she would complete his mission. She stood outside the tomb and looked up at the stars in the night sky. She thought about her 2 children in the underworld and her heart slowly calmed down. It was almost a year. The 2 little fellows had already passed their 2nd birthday. She wondered how they were doing when they were 2 years old. Were they well? Were they naughty? Was Wu Xiaodao always hurting her? Mother! Mother! In her daze, she seemed to hear the 2 children's voices. She looked around but didn't see them. She was a little disappointed. She missed the 2 little fellows so much that she was hallucinating. However, the anger in her heart dissipated. She wanted to save Xianqiu and destroy that dirty thing with her own hands. After she calmed down, she spread the news. After receiving the news, the people in the alliance knew how to find the black-clothed man. Then, she took out a small throne and sat on it before disappearing. Poor Wu Lingyu. The 2 little fellows didn't miss him. Now, even Yu Yue, who only missed him in the past, didn't miss him. It was too torturous. 2 days later, Sima Yue appeared in the sky above Cloud Sea City. She saw the barrier in the sky and directly passed through it. She came to the herb garden. The valuable herbs here had been dug up. Only some of the less valuable herbs were left. You're here. Chapter 22-23. At that time, she followed the people from the heavenly sect to Cloud Sea City to participate in the pill competition. Once she arrived, she heard that the Bodhi mushroom in the Alchemist Guild had been stolen, causing the entire city to be on guard. She met Mo-san, who was hiding from the pursuit in her room, and knew that he was the one who stole the Bodhi mushroom. However, he left it in the Alchemist Guild and did not take it out. In order to prevent him from doing anything stupid, she went to the Alchemist Guild to get the Bodhi mushroom for him. It was in this courtyard that she met Xianqiu for the first time. That year there was a layer of enchantment outside the medicine garden, and there was a slight fluctuation in the air. She called out Little Roar and fused with him before walking in. Because there was an enchantment, there was no one guarding the place. Sima Yue went in directly. Enter the 3rd small flower bed in the medicine garden. There is a spirit fruit tree beside it. Walk 10 steps east from the tree. She muttered as she walked and finally came to a piece of soft soil. The soil was dug up not long ago and the soil was still very new. She followed Mo-san's instructions and dug down twice. As expected, she saw a jade box. She kept the box in her spirit pagoda and passed it to Mo-san. When she got up, she saw a stalk of medicine beside her was covered in soil. She moved over and brushed the soil off before combing the leaves of the medicine. That was the place where the Bodhi mushroom was planted. A gentle voice sounded from behind. Sima Yue was shocked and turned around immediately. She saw a man sitting on a wheelchair and smiling at her. Although he said he was looking, his eyes were not focused. He should be a person with eye problems. She did not feel awkward or helpless after being caught red-handed. She calmly sized up the person in front of her. Both of his hands were casually placed on the armrests of the wheelchair. His beautiful face revealed a sickly fatigue. He looked at Sima Yue indifferently, as if he had seen her little movements, but also as if he hadn't. Who are you? When did you come? Sima Yue took 2 steps forward and looked at him cautiously. I have always been here. It's just that you did not notice. The man said, You can call me Xianqiu. Xianqiu? Sima Yue thought for a while. She had never heard of this name before. She did not know who he was. Yes. Xianqiu smiled and nodded. You have always been here? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Xianqiu admitted, but he did not say whether he saw her or not. What are you doing here? Smelling the smell of medicine. Smelling the smell of medicine? Sima Yue frowned. Could it be that he smelled the scent of the Bodhi mushroom and came over? Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about you. Xianqiu pointed out what she was worried about. He saw it. How? How did he know what she was? Shi Yue and Sima Yue? Sima Xian Yue Xianqiu's Sima sex. Xian Yue Xian. Xian Yue Xian 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 Yue Xian. Not, I to you not to care not tos. I. Then what are you doing here? Chiu Mo Xian. To a person who does not know what color is, smell is an important way to perceive the world. Xianqiu crossed his fingers. I cannot see what the world looks like, but I can smell them. Have you never been able to see? Sima Yu walked over when she saw how calm he was. I heard from others that I could see when I was 1 or 2 years old. So it's not that I couldn't see, it's just that I don't have any memories of that time. Xianqiu teased. Children who were 1 or 2 years old did not have any memories. Even if they saw what the world looked like, how could they remember? So they did not know what color the sky was or what flowers looked like. You didn't see a doctor? I did, but no doctor could find the reason. Because I couldn't see, I got used to it. But you want to see the world, right? Sima Yue said. You want to know what the world looks like, what color the sky is and what color it is. You don't want to just rely on your consciousness to distinguish the things around you. Xianqiu's smile deepened. You know how people like me think. Have you experienced it before? Later, she found out that he was not called Xianqiu. Xianqiu was just his surname. He was called Xianqiuhe, a man who looked like a crane. Now, he was still in the same place, still sitting in a wheelchair. There was still a smile on his face, but it was not the same clean smile as before. We meet again. Xianqiuhe said. It was different from the hoarse voice she heard before. This time, he used his original voice. Since he had been seen through, he did not care if his voice was recognized. No. Sima Yue regained her senses from her memories and stared into his eyes. It's our first time meeting. Don't try to get close to me. First time meeting? Xianqiuhe laughed softly. You think that I'm not Xianqiuhe? Are you? Sima Yue asked back. Which part of you do you think is the same as him? Just because you've taken over his body. Does that mean you're his? Xianqiuhe opened his hands. His soul, his body, why not? The things that you would do, he would not do, not a single one of them. Sima Yue said. You killed so many people, ate so many hearts, enjoyed the thrill of killing people, liked to see others in despair and fear. You are not him from the start. He. Xianqiuhe laughed. His voice was still so pleasant to the ears. Do you think that if he didn't want it, I would become him so easily? What do you mean? Do you know when and under what circumstances he gave himself to me? Xianqiuhe asked her. I don't know. But what I know is that this must have happened under your coercion. Sima Yue said with certainty. Originally, I still needed some time to come out. But when you died, the blood in his body was in turmoil. His breath was unstable, and the seal was disturbed. I took the chance to break the seal and come out. Xianqiuhe saw that she was worried and explained considerately. At that time, I did not do anything to him. I have been looking for a host for so many years. Naturally, I could not let him die, right? Not only did I not let him die, I also helped him to calm the power in his body. But your death was a huge blow to him. I broke the seal and his previous injuries, causing his body to fall into a coma. Sima Yu didn't think that the fact that he had seen her die in the Sage Pavilion would have such a huge impact on him. Chapter 22-24. Sima Yue clenched and loosened her right hand behind her back, before she suppressed the shock in her heart. She did not expect Xianqiuhe to like her. Other than his loss of composure the last time they met, their interactions were normal. She only treated him as a good friend, and did not feel that he had other thoughts. What she did not expect was that he was like this now because of the blow of her death. Xianqiuhe saw that her expression did not change and continued. Do you know what Tao he comprehended under the Tree of Life? Sima Yue stared at him and waited for him to continue. She knew that he would say it even if she did not ask because he wanted to attack her and make her feel guilty before he attacked her. No desires. Xianqiuhe continued. Maybe it was because I was in his body. As long as he had no desires, even if I broke the seal, he would be fine unless I wanted him to die. Luckily, he had desires and desires. Sima Yue's nails dug into her palms and looked at him with anger. You took over his mind and body when he was at his weakest. I only guided him a little. Xianqiuhe smiled. If it was not for you, where would his desires come from? Where would his desires come from? If it was not for your death, He would blame himself and feel that he was not strong enough to let you die. How would I have the chance to enter? Are you done talking about Xianxiohe? What about the man in black and the Qi spirit? What role did you play in all this? Sima Yue asked. You're really a curious girl. Xianxiohe sighed and said, I'm in a good mood today, so I'll help you clear your doubts. I set up the Qi spirit. You? How? The Qi spirit needed tens of thousands of years to form. How could he set it up? Xianxiohe saw her expression and smiled even more happily. Since I can be in his body, I can naturally be in other people's bodies. Unfortunately, you were not there, so I did not succeed. However, this did not stop me from setting up these things. As a formless thing, he floated to many places. Naturally, he knew that there were good tombs in those places. He then let the host take the initiative to do something, and it only took time. Is it the ancestor of the Xianxiu clan? Sima Yue said with certainty. Sort of. Everyone in the Xianxiu clan has his bloodline. Xianxiohe was in a good mood and explained patiently. Only people with his bloodline can withstand my power. Or else, did you think I chose this body? The matter of the black-robed man and the Qiling, Crane didn't know at first, right? How did you make the Xianxiu clan do all this for you when you were in his body? Isn't it? Even if it was a reclusive family, would they not want to strengthen themselves? Before I was sealed, I made the people of Xianxiu clan work for me. Once the leader of the Xianxiu clan agrees, do I still need to care about the other clansmen? It turned out that this trap had been set up from the very beginning. If you want the power of Emperor Qingdao in my body, you just have to wait for me to succeed. Why did you let the man in black do so many things? Ha ha ha, I did not expect you to have such a naive thought. Xianxiohe laughed. As long as you are a man, which one of you does not want power? Moreover, I want the Xianxiu clan to be strong. Only then will I have more resources to nurture this body. I want a body. I want a body with good talent and power. Without power, how can I nurture him? No wonder the man in black was so obsessed with the unions. With them in his hands, it would be easy to nurture a person. Then why did you not do anything for more than 100 years? Without her, it would not be too difficult for him to deal with the unions. But he chose to be quiet for more than 100 years. Because I was waiting for you to come back. How is it? Are you touched? I don't think that's the reason. Sima Yue stared at him. You realized that you could not fully integrate into his body, so whatever you did was useless. You thought of the aura of Emperor Qingdao on me, and did not want to cause any trouble, so you let the man in black go quiet. Am I right? Xianxiohe smiled but did not say anything. She was right. Sima Yue saw that he had tacitly agreed, and was even more certain of her thoughts. She continued, so when I came back, you got the black-robed men to take action. You wanted to make the continent chaotic again. You wanted me to become stronger and absorb the power that Emperor Qingdao left behind. That's right. You are right. Xianxiohe admitted. He admired her sharp mind. What about Mu Si? Why did you capture him? Why did you give him to the Dark Dragon Guard? If I did not do anything, how would you know that my people would come out again? If not, why would you go to the 32 states when you woke up? Xianxiohe said. Little Helper said that Mu Si was captured. It was the key to lure her into the trap. So that was it. As for the Dark Dragon Guard, they are my people. I was the one who asked them to find the thing. Seeing that Sima Yue was surprised, she smiled. I just said that I can live in Xianxiohe's body. I can also live in other people's bodies. You have life and death, but I don't. I can't even remember how many years I have lived. There are many things that I can do. So building a Dark Dragon Guard was not something special. Xiancheng, why did you send me away? The person who sent you away was not me. It was him. He did not want us to meet. He took over the body and arranged all these. And I felt that you did not absorb much of the power left behind by Qingdao. It was useless to meet him, so I let him be. Xianxiohe said it casually. Sima Yue could feel the despair and reluctance of Xianxiohe at that time. He also wanted to buy time for her. Do you have any other questions? Sima Yue shook her head. Since I can't escape the blame, Then let me pull you out of his body bit by bit. The questions in her heart were all answered. She did not waste any more words with him. She condensed her spiritual energy and attacked him. Xianqiu, he did not really need to sit in a wheelchair. When she attacked, he clapped his hands and flew up. The wheelchair was smashed into pieces just like that. Sima Yue quickly condensed a fire dragon. Now the speed of her underworld skills was almost instantaneous. Her strength was also unprecedentedly strong. TSK, I didn't expect the fire god to be in your hands. Xianqiu, he casually formed a protective shield and blocked her flames. It's a pity that it hasn't grown. It's useless to me now. His palm emitted a dark aura, and quickly swallowed her fire dragon. Chapter 22-25. Sima Yue saw that her fire dragon was extinguished by him just like that, and she was shocked. Her current strength, because she had absorbed Emperor Qingdao's power, and didn't have any enlightenment, could be said to be skyrocketing. Even if she didn't advance to Emperor, she wasn't too far away. In addition, she had added Little Flame's power. Even if it wasn't as powerful as Little Birdie, it was enough to give Emperor a headache. But he had swallowed her fire dragon just like that. It was indeed an evil power that had lived for hundreds of thousands of years. Even if it hadn't completely merged with Xianqiu's body, it was still so powerful. With this, she knew that her strength wasn't enough to deal with him. She was just about to call Black Shadow and the rest out when Xianqiu appeared in front of her. A power restrained her, making her unable to move. Black Shadow, Huan and Changjiu couldn't deal with him even if they came out. Realizing this, she gave up on calling them out. And all of this happened in an instant. Xianqiu grabbed her neck with one hand and caressed her face with the other, muttering, "Such a good appearance, attracting him to be so crazy for you. What he doesn't dare to do, I will do it for him, how about that?" With that, he bent down and wanted to kiss her. Sima Yue broke free from his restraint, flipped her right hand, and attacked his chest with Little Birdie's flame. Xianqiu reacted quickly. She broke free from the restraint, which made him surprised for a moment. But almost at the same time, he let go of her, turned his body and dodged the attack on his chest. But his left arm was still burned by Little Birdie. Xianqiu grabbed her arm and pulled it behind her back, then restrained her again. "I didn't expect that you would really do it. If I die, he will die too. You heartless woman." He breathed into her ear. The two of them looked very intimate. Sima Yue's right hand wasn't free. Her left hand broke free from the restraint, took out Little Birdie's Flame King, and attacked from behind. Xianqiu was sure that she could really break free from his restraint. When she attacked, she disappeared from the spot. "Let's end the game here." She did not know where Xianqiu's voice came from. His strength was probably not as simple as a monarch. Even if she had a strong understanding of space, she could not sense his position. "I really want to spare your life for him, so I'll be very careful later. You have to endure it." His voice had yet to fall when Sima Yue felt a wave of energy enveloping her. Following that, something drilled into her body. She tried her best to resist, but she was unable to stop his power. That power kept going downwards until it reached her spiritual pool. When it saw the 8 trigrams in the spiritual pool, it paused. Before this, the spiritual pool was still in the shape of a pagoda. Now there were 2 pagodas, one black and one white, at the eye of the 8 monsters formation. The power paused for a moment, then went straight to the white tower. Sima Yue felt energy flowing out. She did not need to think to know that Xianqiu was absorbing Emperor Qingdao's energy. A hoarse voice sounded in her body. It seemed to be surprised, but then it was angry. Sima Yue took advantage of the moment when the other party was stunned. She gathered all the energy in her body to attack the invading power. At the same time, she ignited Little Birdie's flame all over her body. Xianqiu's dark energy had nowhere to hide and had no choice but to leave her body. PFFF. The collision of the energy in her body and the forced withdrawal of the dark energy caused her body to be severely injured. She spat out a mouthful of blood, and a few drops fell on her skirt. However, she managed to get rid of Xianqiu's power. She called Huan, Black Shadow and Changjiu out. Her beasts also came out to protect her. They already knew how powerful Xianqiu he was in the spirit pagoda. At this moment, they were all looking at him cautiously. Xianqiu he was not as complacent as before. He stared at Sima Yue and said, "You haven't finished absorbing Qingdao's energy?" "No." Sima Yue was glad. Emperor Qingdao had 2 tombs in the divine realm. It was probably because she was still lacking that he did not kill her in one go. "If you haven't finished absorbing it, how can you have such a close connection with me? How did you find your way here?" Xianqiu he stared at Sima Yue. He always thought that she had finished absorbing Qingdao's energy. Otherwise, she would not have been able to find her way here. And he did feel the connection between him and her. It was the connection between him and Qingdao. But he did not expect her to be able to do this even though she had not finished absorbing it. He did not plan to let her go today. That was why he said so much to her. He did not expect her to tell him that she had not finished absorbing Qingdao's energy. Ugh! He was also injured by Sima Yue. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Some dark dragon guards came out from the sky and surrounded him. Sima Yue wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and smiled at him. "Why is it impossible? I've disappointed you. It's really a happy thing." Regardless of anything else, this point alone made him unable to succeed. It made him unable to touch her. So what if I didn't succeed today? I won't go to the remaining 2 tombs. You'll never succeed. You dare? If you don't go, I'll get people to kill your family and friends. Then I'll kill everyone in this mainland. Before everyone dies, I'll tell them why they died. You can compete with me and see whose heart is harder. After Xianqiu he finished speaking, he laughed sinisterly. "I'll wait for you up there. Don't disappoint me. Let's go." The dark dragon guards left with him. Sima Yue did not say anything to stop them. Those people were not weak. With Xianqiu he's unfathomable strength. Even if he was injured, she did not know how strong he was. "Yu, how are you?" Little Seven and Little Dream felt that Sima Yue could not stand properly. They quickly supported her, and slowly returned to the ground. Sima Yue was not feeling well. She took out a few elixirs and ate them. Her body was still in pain. Seeing everyone's worried eyes, she smiled. "I'm not feeling well now. I'll be fine in a while. Don't worry, I'm fine. You should have called us out earlier." Black Shadow saw that she was in pain and felt bad too. "It's my mistake." Sima Yue shook her head. "I should have thought of it. It was already so powerful when Emperor Qingdao was still around. Now that it has experienced hundreds of thousands of years, how can it be weak? However, after this mainland can at least be peaceful for a while. Aren't there still the men in black and the Qi spirits? He will bring them up. Do you know why the entire mainland can't find the Xianqiu family? Because they are no longer in this mainland." Chapter 22-26. Xianqiu clan is no longer in this continent? Yu, how did you know? Little Seven and the others had been paying attention to her situation. She had not interacted with anyone recently, so how could she be so sure? Just now. Sima Yue panted and said, "When he entered my body just now, the connection between us suddenly became very clear. In that short period of time, I saw many of his memories. These memories were all after she entered Xianqiu's body, but it was enough for her to understand these things. For example, Xianqiu clan had already gone to the world above. For example, the stronghold of the remaining black-robed men. With these, she could at least weaken his strength a little under the circumstances where she could not touch him. Actually, when Xianqiu he went to the divine realm, he had already given up on those black-robed men. And his current target was her. He did not need to nurture Xianqiu he, so he would not harm the ancient primordial lands in the future. As for what would happen if he kept most of the black-robed men and Qi spirits in the divine realm, it was not within her scope of concern now. You recuperate first, we'll talk about other things after you've recovered. Little Dream said. I'm fine, Chanjiu, I'll need you to inform this news. Sima Yue said. All right. Chanjiu knew of her hatred towards the black-robed men. If he was late, they would probably retreat again. So after she told him the location, he left. The sooner he left, the sooner he could come back to protect her. After Changjio left, Little Dream and the others helped her to find a house to stay in. Then Little Seven and the others volunteered to go out and scout for information. But not long later, they all returned. What's wrong? Sima Yue leaned on the bed and asked. The entire Cloud Sea City is empty. There's no one here. Little Seven said. Not a single person? Little Seven shook her head. There's no aura of life here. Not only is there no one, there's not even a dog. The Alchemist Guild and the Pill Guild had moved away. Many people in the city had left because of this. The rest were probably cleared out by the black-robed men. This city that resided above the clouds and had been so prosperous in the past had actually become a city of the dead now. And it made those who witnessed its prosperity feel quite sad. Sima Yue was stunned for a moment. Then she sighed and said, since he chose to stay here, he naturally wouldn't let the news spread. Empty city is indeed a good way to keep a secret. As for those who came here, none of them returned. Who knew what happened to the people outside? Did Tu Qing want to meet her here? Sima Yue closed her eyes weakly and said, let's leave this place when I'm better. All right. A few days later, her injuries were more or less healed. The people outside started to deal with the black-robed men's stronghold because of the information she gave them. She couldn't continue to stay in this ghost town. However, before she left, she burned down the courtyard. Looking at the raging flames engulfing the herb garden, she seemed to see the man sitting quietly in his wheelchair under the sunlight, smiling at her. She closed her eyes and opened them again. Her gaze was calm again. She kept everyone in the spirit pagoda, took out the small throne and left Cloud Sea City. After leaving Cloud Sea City, she didn't directly return to Sima family. Instead, she went to divination. Divination's gatekeeper had changed, but everyone recognized her and knew her relationship with their sect master. So when they saw her, they still respectfully welcomed her through the gate. Where's your sect master? Sima Yue asked. Sect master is in closed-door cultivation. The little boy who led the way said. Sect master said that no matter when, as long as Miss Yue comes, you must be invited in. Is he in closed-door cultivation? Sima Yue thought that she didn't have anything to do with the little boy. Since he was in closed-door cultivation, she didn't want to disturb him. Since he doesn't have time, I won't disturb him. I'll go first. Sister. A familiar voice sounded from the end of the mountain path. The person in closed-door cultivation was already standing on the mountain waiting for her. I'll go up by myself. Little master, you can go do your thing. Sima Yue said to the little boy who led the way. Then she walked up the mountain alone. She came to the little boy's side and said, didn't you say that you were in closed-door cultivation? The little boy smiled. I was in closed-door cultivation. I came out when I heard that you were here. He wasn't in closed-door cultivation. Since he knew that she was here, he naturally had to come out. Your strength has improved again. If he could know that she was here when he was in closed-door cultivation, it could be seen that he had reached the stage where he didn't care about these small things. I've improved since I came back last time. The little boy brought her up the mountain. They went to the courtyard that used to be Yinlin, but was now his courtyard. He was already very good before, but because of the knot in his heart, he was stuck at a bottleneck. And he wouldn't say those words to anyone else. When he went to see Sima Yue, the conversation between the two of them resolved the knot in his heart. After he came back, his strength improved naturally. They came to the main hall. Sima Yue was still sitting on the same praying mat as before. The little boy sat down on the praying mat beside her. Has the matter with the black-robed men been settled? The little boy asked. You can say so. Sima Yue told the little boy everything. She knew that even if she didn't say it, he would be able to calculate it. But she still told him. She came because she wanted to find someone to talk to. I couldn't see it clearly in the divination before, but now I can see it clearly. The little boy sighed. He didn't expect things to develop like this. He calculated that this matter had an ancient aura, but he didn't expect that it was set up by that thing hundreds of thousands of years ago. Now that he heard it, he was really shocked. It was a pity for Xian Qiuhe. Seeing that Sima Yue was a little depressed, he said, you don't have to blame yourself. This matter was set up hundreds of thousands of years ago. It's not something you can stop. Although she said that, she still blamed herself. There are 2 places left. Do you want to go? The little boy asked. Do I have a choice? Sima Yue smiled bitterly. That thing is the dark side of Emperor Qing Dao. He doesn't have a benevolent heart. He said that if I don't go he will kill, and he will. Although I'm not a saint, I can't completely ignore the life and death of others. I can't compete with him in terms of ruthlessness. Not to mention, he will definitely make a move on the people around me. Under such circumstances, she didn't have a choice. The little boy knew her character, and wasn't surprised that she would make such a choice. However, he didn't ask me to go immediately. I think he knows that I shouldn't bite off more than I can chew. I've just absorbed so much energy. If I immediately absorb the rest, I might not get the results he wants. This is good too. It gives me some time to breathe. Sima Yue felt very tired. Chapter 22-27. Little Helper wanted to tell her fortune, and Sima Yue didn't ask what he wanted to tell her. She nodded and watched as he took out the things used to tell her fortune. Sima Yue supported her chin with one hand. She watched his white jade-like fingers rubbing against the tortoise shell. She did not know what he was doing. This was the first time she saw a child doing fortune-telling. She felt that these fortune-tellers were very powerful. They could use these to predict the future. After a while, the child put away the items and smiled at her. Good fortune. What did you tell me? Sima Yue asked him. Your luck for the next few years will be smooth. There will be no diseases or disasters. You can rest for a few years. The child said. He was not a big deal, but he gave her the answer she wanted. She was too tired in her life. She did not feel much usually, but when she encountered something like this, she would feel tired. Especially when it came to the black-clothed men. She felt that it was all because of her. This kind of self-blame made her feel even more tired. She did not have much to do in the next few years. She could rest well and release the pressure in her heart. Otherwise, she did not know if it would affect her Dao heart. I want to go to the devil world. Sima Yue said. There would naturally be many things to do in the devil world. How could she rest? If you want to go, then go. The child did not stop her. This meant that going to the devil world would not make her tired. But there is one thing you need to take note of. Don't worry too much. I will try my best. He will not make you worry, the child said with certainty, because he knew he did not stop her. Then I will treat it as going to play. Sima Yue did not feel that she had to do anything, other than taking revenge for Little Dream. Everything else would depend on Ling Yu's needs. It is good for the 2 little fellows to stay there. The child suddenly changed the topic. Sima Yue was startled. Then she smiled. I know. Because she knew she agreed. Because she knew she restrained herself. In a few years, they will be a great help to you. The child was very curious about the 2 little fellows. It was a pity that he could not see them now. Since you know them, you should also know Xiao Dao's life providence, right? As her uncle, do you have any advice for her? Sima Yue put aside her longing and looked at him with a smile. You really didn't waste any of my resources. Xiao Tong saw that there was finally a genuine smile on her face, and it wasn't as worrisome as before. Xiao Tong's mood improved a lot. I've already read her fortune. Although her fate is extremely bad, there's no need to worry too much. Things will move in the opposite direction when they reach an extreme. Now that you've deteriorated like this, cough cough, you'll definitely have good days in the future. Thinking of Wu Xiaodao's fate, he actually wanted to laugh. It had to be said that her fate was extremely good. And Wu Lingyu's was also very good. Of the 2 children they gave birth to, Wu Qiao's fate was extremely noble, while Wu Xiaodao's fate was extremely bad. It looked as if her entire family had robbed her of all her life horoscopes before giving her such a bad luck. Sima Yue's initial worry when she learned of Wu Xiaodao's life providence had dissipated significantly. Now, thinking of her daughter's life providence, she felt helpless and heartache. Can you read where the person she's destined to be is? Xiao Tong shook his head. This kind of thing had always been within the scope of their calculations. He only said, she will have a great calamity, But it's the same as your calamity. After the calamity, she will be reborn. The future will naturally change. Therefore, the heavens will bring her to his side. You don't have to worry about this anymore. In other words, don't look for the person Wu Xiaodao has destined to be. Even if you look for him, you won't be able to find him. The heavens will have their own arrangements. With his words, her heart calmed down a lot. In the blink of an eye, she felt heartache for her daughter. This kind of calamity wasn't easy to pass, but there can be no construction without destruction. She could only follow the heavens and let her walk on her own. The two then talked about something else. Xiao Tong said, "I'll bring you around the door?" "Wait." Sima Yue sat still. "I still have a very important thing to ask you." "Okay, go ahead." He was always very patient with her. "If you read the heavens, will it be very harmful to your body?" Sima Yue asked. Xiao Tong hesitated for a moment, then nodded. This matter couldn't be hidden from her. Otherwise, if something happened, she would blame herself again. "Then what if we discuss it?" "No." "Then let's discuss it." Sima Yue said. "What did you discover?" Xiao Tong knew that she wouldn't bring this up for no reason. "Do you know about the ancient sacred flame order in the divine region?" Sima Yue asked. Xiao Tong nodded. Although they wouldn't tell others about this, they knew about it. "The last time I saw it in Qingliang City, I even came into contact with it," Sima Yue said. "The rumor in the divine region is that with this, one can rule the world." "So, you discovered the secret behind it?" "When I touched it, I felt the aura of chaos in it," Sima Yue said. "I have an idea in my heart, but I'm not sure if it's right. Tell me about it for reference." "My grandfather advanced to emperor in the ghost realm. He relied on the water of the chaos world. Later on, when he advanced, the cloud spirit told me that the method used to advance was the method used to obtain the recognition of the heavenly Tao. Later on, we poured out the water of the chaos river and obtained the recognition of the heavenly Tao. At that time, I guessed that the heavenly Tao might be related to the chaos river water. Furthermore, you found the aura of chaos in the ancient sacred flame order, so this idea deepened, right?" Xiao Tong asked. "The ancient sacred flame order is just a token. How can it make people in the world submit? This is usually because of the benefits that the token can bring. If I didn't feel the aura of chaos in it, I might have thought that it was something else, but after feeling the aura of chaos, this idea has been lingering around me. I can't get rid of it. According to what you said, this is very likely to be related to the chaos world," Xiao Tong said seriously. Initially, the chaos world wasn't completely isolated from the outside world, but later on, it gradually closed, and people who went to the chaos world couldn't come back. According to the ancient records, the chaos world closed around the same time that this world stopped producing emperors. It's just that no one has ever connected the two before. If that's the case, the possibility is very high. Sima Yue's guess was confirmed. If we reconnect the chaos world with the outside world, will the heavenly Tao change back? Chapter 22-28. Easier said than done? This was no longer an easy matter. It was simply impossible. What kind of place was the chaos world? It was the origin of life. It existed in legends. Many people didn't even know that such a place existed. If she wanted to change it, she could only rely on her own strength. She couldn't even defeat Xian Qiuhe now, let alone change the chaos world. "I don't want to do anything now to change the chaos world," Sima Yue said. "It's just that with such a conjecture, I can work hard in this direction, right? I don't have the ability now. Who knows if I can do it in the future? Even if I don't change it until I die, if this direction is right, maybe someone can do it in the future." That's true. Little Helper didn't continue to pour cold water on her. If the heavenly Tao can be changed, it will be a good thing for this mainland. At least the three realms won't be so chaotic anymore. However, don't force this matter. This isn't your responsibility. I understand. Sima Yue knew that he was worried that she would take this matter on herself again. She would be very busy and very tired. She wasn't that stupid. Previously, she felt that she had a lot of burdens on her. That was because these things were related to her, her family and friends. Now that she had found her mother and solved the black-robed men's matter temporarily, other things weren't directly related to her. She wouldn't be so stupid to take everything on herself. Little Helper was relieved when he saw that she really didn't think that way. He kept her at the divination house for a few days and let her go back after she had rested. Sima Yue returned to the Sima family. There weren't many people in the Sima family. Everyone was outside looking for the black-robed men's whereabouts this year. They really hated the black-robed men. If it wasn't for them, Sima Yue wouldn't have to rush around like this. Later on, when they received news from Chanjiu, they knew the black-robed men's stronghold. So many people went out to vent their anger. Yu Keluo took care of Sima Zihao at home. Sima Lu Xian went out with the clansmen, so Sima Yue went to see her great-grandfather, and then went to see Yu Keluo. Sister. Sima Zihao ran towards her and hugged her leg. He was only 2 years old and hadn't seen her for a year. Children shouldn't have any memories, but he could recognize her at first glance. Sima Yue picked him up and asked, Zihao, how did you recognize me? Mother is looking at the portrait. Zihao is also looking at it. Sima Zihao's words were very nimble, and he expressed his intentions very well. She was wondering why he still remembered her. So it was Yu Keluo who had taught him. Yu Keluo was teaching Sima Zihao how to read in the courtyard, so there was a book on the small table beside her. Sima Yue carried Sima Zihao over and said to Yu Keluo, Mother, I'm back. Yu Keluo already knew about her situation. Although she did not know the dangers involved, she could roughly guess. She reached out to stroke Yu Yue's head and said, It's good that you came back safely. Where is father? He went out to kill the black-robed men. Yu Keluo got someone to bring her a chair and sat down. Everyone is holding back their anger. Now that we know where the black-robed men's stronghold is, we can't wait to go. If it wasn't for Zihao, Mother would also want to go and kill a few. Mother, be careful not to scare little brother like this. Sima Yue patted Sima Zihao's back and said, Zihao is not afraid. Zihao wants to protect sister. Sima Zihao vowed solemnly in her arms. Your father has always told him that he is a man and will protect sister in the future. So the smoothest thing he can say now is to protect sister. Yu Keluo smiled and said, Zihao is so obedient. If you want to protect sister, you have to listen to father and mother and become stronger. Understand? I know. I am a big child. Sima Zihao's childish words successfully made his mother and sister laugh. After teasing Sima Zihao for a while, he fell asleep in her arms. Sima Yue placed him on his bed and came out to chat with Yu Keluo. The black-robed men's matter has been settled. This time you will be staying at home for a while, right? Yu Keluo was really afraid that she would leave immediately. I will rest for a while and spend more time at home with you and little brother, Sima Yue said. Her parents had been rescued, and her family was reunited. However, due to various reasons, they didn't spend much time together. She did not know how long she would stay in the Devil Realm. So before she left, she wanted to spend more time with her parents and little brother. When she returned to her own courtyard, the smile on her face gradually disappeared. She thought for a while and contacted Ming. Ming quickly appeared in her room. Seeing her anxious eyes, he did not say anything and threw a pile of shadow stones to her. I will remember it for you. The two little fellows are still molding their bodies. Take your time to look at it. After saying that, he left again, not giving her any time to speak from beginning to end. Since you are so busy, just get someone to send it over. Sima Yue complained. However, she still hugged the pile of shadow stones and looked at it. The shadow stones were marked with numbers. It started from when the two little fellows went there. She took out the number 1 shadow stone and inserted her spirit energy to look at it. It recorded when the two little fellows first went there. They were crying for their mother. Wu Xiaodao's voice was hoarse from crying. Wu Qiyao's face was also red from the bitterness. Sima Yue's tears fell. She now knew why Ming had to run away so quickly. If he did not run away quickly, she would definitely settle the score with him when she saw this. Later on, the two little fellows slowly adapted and became more obedient. They did not cry so much anymore. However, they would often look for their mother. Sima Yoyue's heart ached when she saw this. She saw that the two little fellows treated her image as a reward. No matter how hard it was, they would not make a fuss. Her tears flowed even more violently. She now knew that Ming was right not to let her see them. If she went, she would definitely not bear to let them suffer like that. Even if she knew that it was for their good in the future. Only when she could not see them, she could harden her heart. Later on, the two little fellows grew up and became obedient. The only thing that did not change was their longing for her. In the last shadow stone, she saw that Wu Xiaodao was used to falling down from time to time. After falling down, he climbed up and patted his little hands before continuing to play. Sima Yue locked herself in the room and watched it for a day. The next day, she showed it to Yu Kaluo and cried for a while. Poor two children. Yu Kaluo wiped the tears on her face. You have to think about it. This is for their good in the future. I know. She kept the shadow stones. These were her consolation for them in the future. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.